Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran and I'm here with River Brown, MJ Velez, and Joe Dehls. And this is now episode 433. In this episode, we are going to talk about the Packers and Lions game, recapping that, NFL Week 14 picks, and talk about the NBA MVP race very early in the season. But just going to go over what the criteria should be from here on out for that MVP award, and then go over the top 5 teams with the most depth in the NBA. Riv, how are you doing? I haven't seen you in a while, mister.
I'm so glad we're starting with you.
What up? What's up? Talk to me.
How you doing?
Talk to us. How are you?
I feel good. I had a good week.
You're about to get attacked right now.
Listen.
I'm not attacking you, man.
I am.
You can attack me all you want, man. Listen. Got stuck at work. Left a little too late. That's it.
Fucking guy got sleepy.
Sleepy? What do you mean I got sleepy?
Honestly, I wasn't mad that you didn't show up. I was more mad that when we got here at 6:30, you were like, "Oh, I'm not gonna be here till at least 8." I wish I knew that like way ahead of time.
Bro, it'd be my job. I don't know what you like.
I was more mad at the fact that
We
you
waited.
you ain't show up to the studio after you had an undefeated week in Pick'em.
That's a fact.
You didn't miss a single pick.
Yeah,
But we've been on
I
such a
can't-
heater that we're still up.
Yeah, no. I was ready to come up on this show and essentially jerk you off with how excited I was for you going perfect.
Nah, it was cool. It was cool to be undefeated. I'm just trying to stay positive. I'm trying to pass John right now. I'm trying.
Yeah, he just had a loss last
Can
night.
I tell you, John's been doing some dumb shit
He
in the
keeps trying to
pick'ems.
find the
He's
The
acting
upsets.
like me last year.
He's always just trying to find a couple upsets, but it's never the right ones.
Like he went last week on Thursday with Chicago, and
The Giants.
that was bad.
Well,
He's
the Bears
been
almost won.
close for a couple. Last night with the Packers, he was close. The Bengals and Ravens a couple weeks ago, he was close.
Yeah, I guess
so.
so.
He's been
Lions
there,
was
but
deaf close.
it was
It
Bears,
got
Lions
close.
too.
It got close. And I'm
It
not
came down
going
to
They
last
had a
Right.
chance
You're
to
right.
win the
You're right.
game.
You're
So
right.
as much as we're shitting on John,
To be
one
fair,
of those could have gone his way.
I
at
did text
least.
you guys and say go without me.
You did, but we want you to be here.
I understand, but
But
sometimes
it's fine. You're here now.
you
We're
know,
gonna have a
I'll be
great
at work.
show.
You know, I don't like to record 9, get out of here at 12. Like, just
Who does? You think I like doing that?
I don't know. You're always the one that's come on, Riff. Let's.
Yeah, because I want my boy in here because I
Said
know.
he'd scoop you too. Really.
I was going to
didn't
get
even
you a hot chocolate.
I wouldn't have done that.
Yes, you would have.
Nah.
Nah.
If you'd been like, "Yo, come get me," I'd be like,
I
start
said,
the show.
yo, bro, I got you. I'll go get you. Hot chocolate on me.
By the
No
time-
response was wicked.
Because by the time I
Thought
got
that
out
would
of
get
here,
him.
Me too.
Yeah.
At least they're like, nah, bro, I just can't go.
At least an
now.
answer.
Exactly.
by the time I got out of there, finished cleaning, man, I
What
was
time did you get out?
frustrated. About 9:20. The last kid left at 8:40.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I wouldn't have wanted to wait till 9:45 to start the
And I
show.
had to clean the gym and all that. It was just a lot of nasty shit that happened on my job. But
Weekend. Here we go.
I love the fact that we've been here for like 2.5 hours and this is just coming up now on the show.
Well, we
Oh
were
my
doing
goodness.
BR before.
Yeah,
I
we
didn't
were.
even think I was going to make it for beer. I thought y'all was starting at 5:30.
So did I. He
I was
told us
talking about-
5:30, which was smart.
Yeah.
He's a smart dude for that.
I'm always here on
Yeah,
time.
me too. When I say I'm going to be here, for BR especially, I'll be here on
Facts.
time.
I didn't-
For
I
a
said-
regular show, I'll be 10-15 minutes.
I'll tell you what, I was talking to my brother about this. That's why I knew I was going to talk to you about this regardless. I'm like, yo, Charles, man, this guy Rip pissed me the fuck off. I don't know what to say.
Shout out to Big Chuck, man.
Yeah,
out to Big Chuck,
facts,
it's right.
facts. Let's get into the show, though.
Yeah.
You got something else to
How are
say?
you guys feeling?
I have
That's
a
it.
question.
That's the intro right
Should we
there.
start with one though? Would you rather?
What's your question, Riv?
I could start with that. Question. You made some tweets last night, when I got home. So you make some tweets about the Green Bay Packers. And I saw you make some tweets saying how, like, this team has some shit like, I don't remember it verbatim, and I really don't feel like going to look. But basically you were saying, like, this team has no grit. This team has no fight.
I ain't say that.
I just said.
He said, lack of a better term.
Basically what I got
No,
from,
like I don't know how
Honestly,
he
I
got
don't know.
that.
I don't know the tweet you're referencing.
I know which one he's
you know
talking
what I'm
about.
talking about, right?
I do.
You were basically like just saying how the Packers just too many inconsistencies.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, read it,
Packers
please.
are now 0-4 against the top 3 teams in the NFC, Eagles, Lions, and Vikings. Can't trust their corners, can't trust their pass rush, self-inflicted wounds, penalties, and drops. Haven't won the most meaningful games they've had this season.
All right, so
That's 100% a fact.
yeah, so like, are you off them after being on them before the game? Like, talk to me about that.
No, I still think they could go toe to toe with any team in the NFL. And
Can they win
it
it, though?
segues perfectly to the first topic. The first topic of the show is, can the Packers punch above their weight? They have lost all of their games against top NFC opponents. You have the Eagles, you have the Lions twice, and then you have the Vikings. There's a difference, in my opinion, between losing and looking like you don't belong. When I have watched the Packers in all of these games against these top teams, I have not once thought to myself, they don't belong. Like, we know the Cowboys last year. The Cowboys, we understand when they face better competition, they don't belong. It's
Dolphins.
clear
It's another one.
that when they play against worse competition, they look amazing.
100%.
When they play against better competition, they don't look good. The Packers, to me, when I watched that Lions game last night, they were a couple calls away from that game favoring them. The last drive that they had offensively, it ended up in a field goal, but a touchdown got called back for an offensive pass interference on Christian Watson.
Good call.
Was that a good call? I thought that was a little ticky-tack because Christian Watson was just running his route, and then they ran into each other.
It was close.
And on the same drive, the next drive,
Now he's
the
cooking.
Lions did the same thing with their tight end.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, an Amon-Ra on the 2nd and 17, like basically at the
violated.
first
Yeah,
down, pushes bro off of
Are we going to
him.
have the
So-
conversation the Lions we do with the Chiefs?
No, it's insane. The tables have turned.
In Ohio State versus Oregon game, late game, they called Jeremiah Smith for the same thing. Big push off.
Nah, Amon-Ra pushed
dropped
off
it back.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Keyshawn Nixon was on that route. He read it perfectly, and then Amon-Ra just shoved him. That's
Get
how
outta
it looked,
here,
and
bro.
that's what opened up
Get your weight up.
that shot for Jared Goff. So when I watched the game last night, I thought, listen, the Packers are right there, and they're one of those teams that are still dangerous. They haven't beaten those top end teams yet. But when they faced the Eagles, they lost by 2 points. I felt like they belonged on the same field. The Eagles just executed better, and they ended up winning that game. I look at the Vikings. They were down 28-0 early, but then you had 2 missed field goals from the Packers. You had a pick 6, and then in the second half, their defense came back, and their offense played really well. It was a 2-point game in that one as well.
That's the one they look like they didn't belong the most, but even still, like you're saying.
Yeah, and then the
respectable.
Lions, the first matchup, they won by 10 points, but it kind of felt like the Packers let a lot of things slip away in that one. So to me, I think the Packers belong. This isn't a situation where I think they're frauds. They don't have a chance. No, I think the Packers are dangerous. And if they meet the Lions again, it's going to be much like what we just saw. It's going to be a game that goes down to the wire. It's going to be a coin flip game. And I do still believe in the Packers. I do. The major disappointments, in my opinion, when it comes down to their team, number one is the offensive line. Josh Myers had a 0 pass blocking grade in this one. And that was against some backups that the Lions had on the defensive line. He had his worst game of his career. The offense wasn't able to get going in the first half, but the defense, between the numbers against Tua, against Jared Goff, they let up the most completions of any team in the NFL between the numbers. Their linebackers, McDuffie and Eric Wilson, are just not linebackers that get enough depth. They sometimes drop too much, and it kills them. So that area can be exploited. In their corners, Jair's out. We understand that. Eric Stokes has been a major disappointment for them, he was a highly coveted draft pick.
Rookie safety got banged
there
up.
are some things with the Packers that they aren't as talented as the Eagles. No, the Eagles have a more talented roster. And Rashawn Gary and Kenny Clark, who are supposed to be the Packers' stars, they have not shown up. Rashawn Gary did not show up in this game. Kenny Clark did not show up in this game. They were awful. So there's still room for the Packers to grow, but now the season is dwindling down, and we don't have that many games left. But I feel like the Packers belong. When I watch them, it always feels like it's a close game. They might just be a play away, so they might not go far, but they belong. They're not a fraudulent team. They belong. They're extremely
I
talented.
say
They
this
could beat
one
anybody.
sentence, and I'll just bring it on to you guys. You say they belong, and I hear you. However, Week 1 Eagles are not going to be playoff Eagles. I firmly believe that, and I think we all know that.
Not even close to
The
that.
Eagles are unbelievable. Their defense is, in my opinion, the best in the league. Their offense, especially because it's so centered around Saquon right now and everything that he's been able to do, they're 12 games in, and he has 1,500 rushing. He's been a menace. I look at that, and I just think that's where you failed every test so far. It's been close. They've been good games. That first Lions game, I wouldn't particularly call it close in my opinion. This one was definitely close. That Vikings game, it got close, but it really was an ass kicking to start, but it got close. I think that if you go up against the Eagles, I don't think it's going to be a result that the Packers want.
That's a tough matchup. The Lions is a tough matchup too, but 2 of these 3 games we're talking about. The Eagles, it was a pretty close game throughout, but The Vikings game, you mentioned it. It was 28-7 going into halftime. The first half, the Packers just straight up got dominated. So now they're coming back from 3 touchdowns, which they almost did. They also, this early in the season when they had a bunch of kicking issues too, which is another issue, even though they were able to overcome most of that. And then last game, I know it was only 10-0 going into halftime, right? Or 10-0,
you got
10-0, correct?
Well,
yeah.
No, into
But the
halftime,
game last night?
17-7.
Last night.
It was
17-7. Maybe end of first quarter, maybe I'm thinking. It was the Lions got off to that first drive. They scored a touchdown. But the Packers were really struggling to move the ball in that first half. Yeah, they had that one touchdown drive. That's correct. I believe it was after the Jared Goff interception, if I'm remembering that correctly. Regardless, I believe they had a shorter field.
Half. I know what you're talking about.
They had a shorter field, and it was all through Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs went right down the field. They were picking up chunk plays. Emmanuel Wilson was getting involved as well. And I tweeted out that was the first time. Maybe I'm being a little hyperbolic here, but it felt like the first time that Detroit was getting bullied in a game. Like at the line of scrimmage, Green Bay was dominating them. It wasn't like that the entire game and a majority of that first half, but that drive there, they were able to put the ball on the floor for every play except 2, where Jordan Love had one incompletion to Tucker Kraft, who was open in the flat, and then another that was DPI, so it was overturned and they ran the ball in with Jacobs. But they were able to dominate the line of scrimmage. That was like the one the bright shining spot they had in that first half. Second half's when they've been able to turn it on. But my point is, they haven't had in these most important games against the Eagles, maybe not as much as the Eagles, but the Vikings and the Lions specifically have not had that complete game where both sides of the ball are really playing well, because the first half of last night, the defense did about as good as you could have asked for.
I don't disagree.
Right? Like Detroit went down, I believe the first drive, scored a touchdown, but they had a few 3-and-outs in there where Detroit is probably the best offense in football right now, constantly getting first downs, getting themselves in scoring position. The Packers were able to string some stops together. It's just neither unit in these games have complemented each other at the same time. So the defense holds up for a little bit. The offense isn't there. The offense holds up. The defense isn't there like we saw in the second half of that game. And even still, it came down to a game-winning field goal where they went for it on 4th down. Jared Goff falls down, almost loses the game in terrible fashion. But when you're the Lions and you've built this culture and you've won 11 in a row, shit just starts going your way when you start winning like this. I think we see it a lot with different dynasties, whether it's New England, KC, when things usually for the team you root for, the other opposing team, something just a little bit goes wrong. And I feel like the Lions have that now where they're able to win 11 games in a row is insane. To win 11 straight in the NFL is ridiculous. The Jets haven't had an 11-win season maybe in my lifetime at this point. Maybe I think 1 year was Rex Ryan.
You actually didn't have to bring up the Jets.
Yeah, he didn't have to.
Goddamn.
But what you described to me feels like a team that belonged on the field yesterday.
Did. Nah, absolutely.
Last night for sure.
They even in the first matchup, like they lost by 10, but there were situations in that game where it made it that way. So
from what I remember, it was just basically them dominating the ground.
Lions, in the first matchup, they won 24-14. The Packers only punted twice. They had 411 yards of offense to the Lions, 261. They had a missed field goal in that game. They had a pick 6. That's the difference in that game, really. So it's those mistakes, in my opinion, that have costed the Packers. And in this Lions game, like a couple calls go differently. Green Bay could be on top with the Lions needing a touchdown instead of a field goal. One thing I do notice is that Dan Campbell, based off his calls throughout this game, he had ultimate respect for the Packers, going for it as much as he did on 4th down, going for it in that moment when even the analytics said for him to kick a field goal and go up, but there was respect. They have Jordan Love. They have Matt LaFleur on the other side. They can dial up a play and they could get into this field goal range and they could send it to overtime, and that's not something we want. So there is still respect between those two clubs, and like I said, I don't think the Packers are as talented as the Eagles, as the Lions. I think they have better rosters. And it's really mostly due to the players on the Packers, the players that are supposed to be stars, being unreliable. Jair has been unhealthy this year. The defensive line is not playing up to par. With the Lions, the way I'll sing their praises is the fact that they have so many injuries on that defensive line.
God.
And their run defense still swarmed to the ball. It didn't feel like they were missing anybody. Even Ali McNeil in this game didn't play as many snaps because he was in and out because of his injury. But the Lions, their defense was still able to play really well despite all the injuries they had. And, if they had Aiden Hutchinson healthy, I think we are talking about them a little bit differently just because of how much Aaron Glenn has been able to get out of this unit. And DJ Reader will be back. It's not a season-ending injury. Aleem McNeil is a monster, so they still have pieces on the defensive line, but like half of their front seven is out, and for them to stifle the run like they did for most of that game was huge.
Jamal Adams playing in 2024 is crazy to think where he was in Seattle, went to Tennessee, played a couple of games there. But honestly, all three of those teams in the NFC North, they all have a puncher's chance against each other. Like, I really do think Minnesota, Detroit, and Green Bay, they face off in the playoffs, whoever it is. Of course, Minnesota and Green Bay, assuming they're wild card, it wouldn't be them. But going up against Detroit, those teams, I think, have a chance against them.
You think Minnesota can beat the Lions in the playoffs?
I would favor the Lions for sure. But being in division, how great of a coaching staff they have, how great they've been all season long on both sides of the ball, it wouldn't shock me. Of course, Philly's in that conversation as well. But all three of those teams, the Detroit is the best team, or whatever. It's in a tier with the Eagles, but those other two teams, Green Bay and Minnesota, in a one-game playoff would not shock me if they were right there at the very end. It's a field goal game that decides it.
Like, the playoff picture right now is going to be the Packers and Vikings are going to face the winner of the NFC South or the NFC West, which could be the Seahawks, Cardinals, or the Bucs and the Falcons. And then whoever wins between those two, one of them faces the Lions, one of them faces the Eagles. So I do think, we're talking about the four best teams in the NFC when we talk about the Vikings, Packers, Lions, and Eagles.
Last thing I'll say, Riff, apologize. The decision to go for it on fourth down in their own territory was pretty stupid. Like, I really was watching.
Also 4 for 5, fourth down,
A part of me really doesn't care. It was a really bad decision.
I liked it.
I'm sure you did, because then they got excellent field position and they ended up scoring a touchdown.
I thought you were talking about
to end the game. I was also questioning it because they had just gone for it and failed. I was like, all right, this is interesting, but I liked it a lot more that go around because they were actually in plus territory. The first go around where they go and they get the ball to Gibbs and Gibbs just can get nowhere, that was terrible, especially because you start the half with the Packers scoring a touchdown, Goff throwing the pick in their part of the field, that's what you were alluding to, which led to them scoring another touchdown, which then you get the ball, you score to your credit. But then you go and now you are going for it in your own territory. You didn't need to get desperate like that. Mm-hmm. Like, I get your defense kind of did sell, but you put them in position when Goff throws that terrible touchdown too. Throws that terrible interception as well. That's what kind of had me scratching my head. But Dan Campbell made up with going for it, showing his hand again, and showing why he's an aggressive play caller and why sometimes that pays off, and ended up leading to a victory.
Sure can go it forever. They could go, if it's 4th and 1, I don't care. You have too good of an offensive line, play callers,
on your
weapons.
30.
I get it. It's risky for sure.
In a 3-point game?
I get it, but you're going up against a great team. Like, I don't mind being aggressive when you're that good offensively. You're saying, if you're telling me what's the percentage chance the Detroit Lions can get 1 yard on a 4th and 1, I'm giving them like a 70% chance.
Here's the thing, though.
On the 30 is nuts, though.
I still don't mind.
Here's the thing. If Nick Sirianni does the same thing, he's getting flamed for it.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, I'm trying to at least hold same energy.
Nah. No, he isn't.
Look, Green Bay goes.
If we don't do the
if they go 4 for 5 on the game, I don't think it matters.
No, I also want to correct myself.
Joel, that's not true. That's not true.
He has gotten flamed.
No, if Philly's on a 4th and 1 and he does a passing play, then he's getting flamed
on their
for
own
it.
side of the field.
Yeah, I'm saying regardless, no matter where it is on the field,
At
you
the
have Jalen
20-yard
Hurts,
line.
you have Saquon Barkley, you have the best offensive line.
You
in the
wouldn't
league.
want to go for in that situation.
I wouldn't be mad as long as we're doing the tush push or a running play. Yes. No matter where we are.
Yeah, remember when they did that nonsense where they were in the tush push formation and instead they handed it to Saquon and got out? That was stupid.
That the play call was stupid. Going for it wasn't.
Yes.
It's never.
If I see you lined up for a tush push and you're the Eagles and you're going for a tush push on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, and you don't get it, okay, great job, defense. You did something that not many teams can do, and you stopped us on like our golden play.
Third down, I wouldn't mind because
you understand exactly. But also, I want to clarify. So Green Bay comes out, touchdown, interception off the rip. They end up scoring on 3 plays. It was a 16-yard drive. Then they answer back with a touchdown. Now they go and they take the lead. 3 plays, 3 and out. They punt the ball, Green Bay, back to the Lions, and then the Lions on their own 30 turn it over. That's where I'm just like, you had a great play. You had a great drive. You stopped them on 3 plays. You get the ball back. Trust your defense. Trust them again. You put them in a position now where their back's against the wall, and then Jordan Love goes ahead and scores a touchdown. Now they're up 4.
Green Bay seems interesting, man. It seems like we've seen them at different points of the season. You know, week 1, we saw Green Bay and Philly probably at their worst in that game. Still put up 30+ points. Ended up being a really close game. You know, saw them against Detroit twice. Saw them against Minnesota. Had a really bad first half. Bounced back in the second half. For me, I look at it as like the Lions have been the most consistent team in the NFC. You know, they've been from start to finish outside of that one loss to the Buccaneers and, you know, a really terrible game against.
Such a funny out looking back.
Definitely was. Really a terrible game against Houston. They've been kind of the epitome of consistency and success. You look at Philly ever since the bye, they've been the most dominant team in the league, you know, top 5 on offense and defense. And you look at Minnesota, they've had their cracks in the middle, but for the most part, they've been pretty consistent. You look at Green Bay's on a different spectrum where they won a shit ton of games in a row. I think it was like 7 or 8, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. 6, 7, 8. They won a lot of games in a row. And it still felt like you were missing something with this team, or this team still haven't put things together, or they're still missing players, or players aren't playing to their potential. And with Philly and Detroit, you kind of just don't get that vibe. You know, they lost Aiden Hutchinson. The defense was still playing well. I remember the Minnesota game where the game plan was out to blitz them, and Jared Goff probably had the best game of the season against that Minnesota defense, and he was just straight carving them up. And then you look at that defense, what they were able to do to the Texans and C.J. Stroud and all that. And then you look at Philly, like what they did to Cincinnati, what they did to Baltimore, what they did to Washington coming off a hot streak they had, Jalen Carter. Like, it just feels like Green Bay hasn't been able to put it together. And I mean, they've been in these games, so you can say, you know, like they're in the hunt. They still have a chance. But I don't know how many teams I trust going into Philly in December, in January, winning a playoff game. I don't know how many teams I trust beating Detroit on the road, you know, just because the way they've been so consistent. I don't think there's many teams that are going to have the blueprint to really stop them. I guess the division thing does really matter, you know, because they play each other twice a year. You kind of know who these guys are for the majority of it. But just Green Bay just feels like they're missing something that these two teams aren't, which is why they aren't in that tier. And then even with Minnesota, I think they'll always hang in Minnesota because they don't have – I don't want to say Minnesota doesn't have the talent, but I think Green Bay kind of has the more names on the roster, and plus they have Jordan Love.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just Jordan Love. He's really a dude. Like he's nice as hell. But I think those other two teams, it's really hard for me to say I can put the Green Bay in that tier. I can sit here and say Green Bay can beat those teams, especially if they're going on the road, just because those two teams have been so consistent and so great on both ends, on both sides. Like Eagles secondary matching with the defensive line, you know. And I think Detroit, their secondary isn't. I don't think their secondary is as good as Philly. They're still solid. And you got Brian Branch and Lee McNeil. So Green Bay just, I don't know. They're a weird team, man. They're 0-4. They failed every test they have so far, but they still feel like, you know, you still feel like there's a sleeping giant there, because we saw it last year, back end of the year. Green Bay went on a run. They ended up, we all picked Dallas. Well, I think we all picked Dallas. They went out there, destroyed Dallas. They had a chance against the Niners to pull out that W. Unfortunately, a couple things didn't go their way. So it still feels like Green Bay is one of those teams where there's a sleeping giant, but like you mentioned earlier, the season's dwindling. It's dwindling. You don't have much time, and you're probably gonna have an easy first round against an NFC West team or an NFC South team.
They're not as talented as Philly and the Lions.
No, this loss locked them into the wild card, though, unfortunately for them. Yeah. And I'll say, yes, they're 0-4 against these teams, but I'll meet somewhere in the middle. Will I say they've outright failed? They're 0-4. You could go that route, but I think that they've played decent ball against them, where I won't say they outright failed. I'll give them like a C-.
And they've played well against other 500 teams. Mm-hmm. Like, they've played well against the Rams. And
should have lost to the Bears. That's something that I do want to say. Should have lost to the Bears. And I think Caleb outperformed Jordan in that game specifically.
Yeah, any given week, like the Cardinals and the Rams standings can change because of how the NFC West is. But, you know, they've beat the Rams. They've beat the Cardinals. They have some other pretty good wins in their schedule as well. So what it comes down to is that the Packers are just not as dominant up front. The Eagles have a dominant offensive line. So do the Lions. The Eagles have a dominant defensive line. The Lions, not to the degree of the Eagles, but they do have a really good defensive line, and it showed with how many backups could come in and still making your starting center look unplayable. Like, that's not a performance that I saw from the Packers offensive line all season. So that is now starting to worry me. I also think that for as much praise as we gave the receiver by committee thing last year, I think the Packers are missing a dude.
They also missed Dobbs last night too.
Yes.
You could tell. Because Dobbs had been playing really after that kind of, in-house issue he had with not going to practice. I feel like he's been playing probably his best football of his career.
Yeah, they are missing a dude who can beat man coverage and that scares defenses, because right now, and it happened last year, teams blitz Jordan Love a lot because they're like, listen, we trust Carlton Davis against Dontavian Wicks. We trust them against Christian Watson. You're going to get burnt sometimes, but no, like, we trust our corners against these receivers. And the Packers are missing some of those guys. Like the Lions have Amon-Ra. Jamison Williams strands the field vertically. The Eagles have Smitty and A.J. Brown. Like, they have dudes that can threaten your corners, and it scares you out of certain defensive looks. The Packers just don't have that.
As much as I want to defend my boy Jaden Reed, he did himself no favors yesterday.
He had a dud.
That shit hurt me to my core.
Wicks had a couple catches.
He did.
He had a big, on that last drive, too, he had a big catch. In
Watson also starting to figure it out.
Yeah.
That's something to be excited about, at least.
Yeah.
Watson's starting to chain them together.
We were having a conversation about the Packers and Lions, and then the camera shut
You never
off.
told us how good it was.
The coffee?
Yeah.
It's really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw you drinking a little bit.
It looks a little watered down, though.
You let it sit for a while.
Can I
It
put
is,
it
yeah.
in order for next show?
Yes.
Me too, bro.
cool.
Yes.
I would like to get my coffee back and try some coffee.
Does it taste like coffee?
Yeah, it does. You can have different flavors.
I want mine to not taste like coffee. But
Oh,
coffee.
well,
He
I
needs
didn't.
it as fruity as possible.
It doesn't taste like black coffee. No, it doesn't.
Nah, yeah.
I am also at ballpark.
No, the way Jess makes it, so she has this homemade mocha sauce that she made, and she has different flavors. She has French vanilla, she has just vanilla, she has mocha, she has caramel as well.
Sounds like the pod.
So basically, she puts the pod in the Nespresso machine, like a shot or two, whatever you want, and then the coffee comes out. Then she puts one of the syrups in there. Then she puts some whipped cream on it, and then she puts the drizzle over it.
Looks great.
Yeah.
It's
Are you a
fun.
big
Not a
coffee
whipped
guy?
cream guy.
I recently have been. The reason why I don't drink
love
coffee
whipped
like
cream.
that
I love it.
is because I used to drink coffee every day, and I was like throwing up every day.
Oh shit.
And I was
What
coughing.
kind of coffee?
It makes me cough, like from Dunkin' Donuts or something. Even
Like
when I would
iced coffee
drink
or some shit?
Yeah, even when I would drink regular coffee at home, it just wouldn't sit well with me. But I think as of recently, I've gotten more used to it, and that's why I don't feel that way. no
I
more.
only get the fruity drinks from Starbucks or Dunkin'. They go crazy.
Yeah.
I'm a grown man.
Starbucks has this like gingerbread shit. Oh my god, bro, it's so fucking good.
Dunkin' has this real this mango flavored drink.
Coffee?
No, just
Coolado.
just like
Come on,
brother, it's
We
Coolado.
were talking about coffee. That's what I was
When
like.
you
what are we
said
talking
fruity
about?
drinks, I had to reel it back.
Yeah, fruity and coffee sense, where it's like it just doesn't taste like coffee. They put
Yeah,
like,
you're not a real man. I'll just be honest. To go like just at that point, just be on my side and just go straight fruity. You gonna make everything fruity. It's crazy, but
sure.
you know
You drink yours black?
what?
Coffee.
I only do the shots. I told you that's.
Oh, you did say
I
that.
only do the shots.
You did say that.
It's funny when you get into interests of other people, you start to realize how deep the world is. Like, for example, Jess is really into coffee, and Nespresso, we go there, the store at the mall and stuff. Like, there's coffee machines that cost like $1,000, bro.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, and I'm like, wow. And then you look at all the pods they have at the store. It's like coffee from Mexico and El Salvador and like all these different places and all these different flavors. I'm like, wow. They all kind of taste the same to me. Like, I've tried multiple different coffees.
You know why? And this is where I will say black coffee has refined my taste for it. You realize when you just drink it straight, the flavors that each have. So when I'm at home and I drink my K cups, I have this Happy Belly house blend or house whatever the hell.
The camera cut off again. I think it's the universe's way of telling us, let's get into these NFL Week 14 picks.
Do it.
NFL Week 14 predictions, Jets versus Dolphins.
Wait, so just to be clear, I don't get a win or a loss. It's just voided.
Oh, which essentially means loss.
How you figure?
Because you don't get a win, you don't get a loss.
Oh, well.
You don't get a loss added to your column, but you don't get a win either. So
Yeah, that's fine.
Who would you have picked?
Who's home?
Listen,
the
you know he's a
Lions.
notorious Lions hater. He would have picked the Packers.
Nah, I would have picked whoever was home.
The Lions were home.
So I would have picked Lions.
Okay, well, it's too late now. So, Jets versus Dolphins.
It's because he doesn't want you to catch up to him.
How far am I from him?
I don't know. I don't think you're that far.
Yeah, you're like a few games back, but not
Two games
impossible.
back.
This would have been
Yeah.
huge.
Oh, damn.
I'm
Who do you
not
pick?
gonna
He
lie.
picked Green Bay?
He
He
did.
did.
All right. Well, he didn't get a
So,
W,
John.
so.
You actually would have been one
You're doing
behind.
it in order of sleeper today.
Yes.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I'd have been one behind?
Yeah.
All right, let's get to
All
it.
right,
Let's
all
make
right.
the editing
Let's start.
process for Rudy. Nice and smooth. Week 14 predictions, Jets versus Dolphins.
Jets are tanking. They want a really high draft pick. Miami still has something to fight for. Give me Miami.
It's not really to talk about. It should just be round table Dolphins next team, right?
Dolphins.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's
just
all go with the
making sure.
Dolphins. We know the Jets ain't serious.
Braylon Allen, it's your time to prove you're better than Pacheco. Let's see it.
That shit kills me.
Falcons versus Vikings.
Oh, I'm taking the Vikings.
I'm going to take the Vikings as well. The days of Kirk Cousins are sadly over. But I think he has a good performance this week. Mostly the pass offense because
so?
their secondary is a little
Yeah, I got the Vikings too. I don't know. Kirk Cousins under pressure made him my stud of the week in
True,
the fantasy
true.
reaction,
Good
so
point.
that concerns me. I do want to see Michael Penix at some point though, because in the very limited sample size in fourth quarters when everyone plays prevent, he's looked good. So I want to see what he has.
I think the Falcons got a couple things going for them. I think their defense looked much better off the bye. Can you repeat that against an offense that's much better? I have my doubts about that. I think Kirk, what he's shown this year, he has some real limitations that I think the Vikings can take advantage of. I think they win this game. I got the Vikings at home. Saints versus the Giants.
Oh, wow. Saints have been playing semi-better lately. The Giants are not good. Give me the Saints.
Saints have been playing pretty good ball. I thought they were going to upset the Rams for a second. Give me the Saints to win this
Yeah,
one.
they're 2-1 since firing Dennis Allen. But yeah, I got the Saints here. Drew Lock starting, right?
Yes.
Drew Lock is back in there. It's in New York, so maybe that's something. But I trust the Saints right now more.
I got the Saints as well. Panthers versus Eagles.
Oh, give me the
Philly,
Eagles.
keep it pushing.
Round table. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go with the Eagles.
Bryce Young, what do we think, real quick? Because he's been playing better, but this is the best defense in football.
I'm hoping for him to throw for 220 and a touchdown. Yeah, I know.
I'm more on that side.
Me too.
Like, he's going to be seeing ghost.
Yeah.
We're on that vibe.
This is one of those defenses that can just hinder all the progress that has been made. Hopefully, Bryce Young has a good
I'll
performance.
say this. Jalen Carter jumps into DPOI talks after this game.
Okay.
That's what I'm praying for.
Next game up, Browns versus Steelers.
I don't think the Browns beat them twice. Give me Pittsburgh.
They're getting their comeuppance this time. Especially, hopefully, the weather is going to be a lot better than it was when it was in Cleveland.
Yeah, I got Pittsburgh too.
Round table Steelers, Raiders versus Buccaneers.
I feel like round table Tampa Bay.
This one
They need
is
it.
It's a little sneaky.
I'll go
It's a
Tampa
little
Bay. They
sneaky.
need it. They need it.
Buccaneers defense hasn't looked that good over the last couple of weeks.
I mean, it's
For
been bad
majority of the
basically all
season.
year. Kirk Cousins lights them up. We were talking on the fantasy
Facts.
reaction. What was it? Kirk Cousins against Tampa Bay's averaging 395 yards. Is it 12 touchdowns, 1 interception?
Something dumb.
And against everyone else, it's like 220 yards,
God.
9 touchdowns, 12
12
picks.
touchdowns.
I
That's
don't
what,
think it's
6?
12.
Yeah.
I think it's a
maybe
little
it's
less.
9.
He had 5.
It's
9
like
sounds
5.
right.
He had 5 in a game.
Yes,
He had a
it was
fun time.
5 the first one. I'll tell you what. I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning. Why is there a part of me that thinks they're fucking ready
Aiden
to do
O'Connell's
it?
coming off probably his best game of the season, of his career, I should say.
They need it, man.
He
They
played
need it.
really well against KC.
Yeah.
Antonio Pierce still got that motivation in him.
I'm going to take the Buccaneers, but this is one of those where I'll be upset if my upset alert in my mind is right and I'm wrong.
I do think it's a little trappy, but still, the Raiders are 2-10. They're
Yes.
a pretty fucking terrible
really-
team, and the Buccaneers are fighting for potentially winning the division. So I got the Bucs.
Even those terrible teams need another win in there somewhere.
Not wrong.
Yeah, so I mean, this could be a closer game. Aiden O'Connell did play well against the Chiefs. Next game up
Who are you choosing?
with the Bucks.
Oh,
I'm going with the Bucks.
Where'd you?
Next game up, the Jaguars versus Titans. Very tough game to predict because these are both really bad football
T-Law's
teams.
not playing. He's out for the year. I saw.
He isn't. Mac Jones
He's
did
out for the
not
year?
look bad. Yeah, I thought I
I
did see a
thought I
report
heard-
that he
I
was
thought I
done
read
for
the
the
year.
year.
Damn.
I'll go with the Titans.
He's on IR.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
what
I
it
didn't
would
even
is.
realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the Titans in this one.
Yeah, if he's on IR, yeah, if he's maybe coming
Mac
to KC.
Jones didn't look like shit last week, if I'm going to be honest. He actually looked decent. I do have the Titans picked. I am going to take them to win this game. I can see an ugly game, but shout out to Westbrook Akine. 8 touchdowns since week 6. He's been pretty awesome and made the most of limited opportunity. It's like every game, 3, at most 4 receptions, and he's finding a way to get into the end zone. What was the stat that you mentioned to me? He has less than 30 receptions
He's
on
20
it.
catches, 8 touchdowns.
That's fucking insane.
hilarious.
But I think he'll have a good game this week going up against Jacksonville. I'm gonna take Tennessee to win this one though.
I'm taking the Titans too. I don't trust Mac Jones at all. They can't run the football. At least Tennessee has shown. Will Levis has been playing better. We've been talking about it. They could run the ball when they're winning, right? This Commanders game, they were down
They
like
just get their
21-0 at
ass whooped,
halftime, so they couldn't really get Pollard established at all. But against Jacksonville, you can lean on Pollard some more. Will Levis can make some explosive plays down the field.
Yeah, the Jaguars are one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and I thought last week was the first time the Titans defense played poorly. Yeah. All season long, they've been consistent. The one time I picked them to be an upset team, they played their worst football of the year. I'm going with the Titans to beat the Jaguars at home. Seahawks versus the Cardinals. Now, this game has major playoff implications. Whoever wins this game pretty much will win the NFC West. That's how important this game is. Who are you going with? The Cardinals are at home. The Seahawks did beat them once already earlier.
Yep.
Who are you going with?
Oh, for me, I think Arizona wins the division. They need this one. Important game, like you mentioned, playoff implications. Give me Arizona in this one.
My heart says Arizona. I think Arizona, they blew an opportunity the first time they met up. It was definitely one that was within range to take from them. They blew last week's game versus Minnesota. You know what, man? I'm not going to think with my heart this time. I think Seattle wins this game.
I'm going with Arizona. I think these two teams split. They're coming off a really, really close loss to the Vikings, a game they easily could have won. And Seattle, they beat the Jets. I did not think they looked that good, right? The Jets were winning in that game. They could have won at the end, too. So I just, coming off that game, especially traveling East Coast back to West Coast, Arizona being at home, the fact that Seattle beat them earlier in this year, I'm going with Arizona.
There's more travel involved with the Seahawks in this one. And that's what worries me a little bit. They came out flat against the Jets. And I do think that this first matchup that they just had a couple weeks ago, it was super close. And really what changed in the game was that Kyler Murray threw 2 interceptions. That's the difference in this one. It was close. I think the Seahawks defense is elite, but their offense, they're scaring me. This is one of the worst offenses in the NFL. Ryan Grubb has not found a way to mask the offensive line. They can't run the ball. DK Metcalf is questionable. You look at the Seahawks injury report. Yeah, he's probably going to play, but I'm saying he's dealing with something. It's
true.
You look at the Seahawks injury report. They have a ton of players, especially on their offense, that are on the report right now. Lockett was on it. DK was on it. And I think the Cardinals right now, their defense hasn't gotten enough credit. And I want to shout out Garrett Williams, who's their nickel corner. He is one of the best nickel corners in the league, and he's going to have that JSN assignment. Last time they faced off, JSN had a big game, really off of that one screen play, but their defense also shut down Seattle. I want to go with Seattle. I'm actually in the opposite sides as you. My heart is trying to tell me Seattle. My mind is trying to tell me the Cardinals. I'm going to go with the Cardinals in this game. I think they win at home.
And Cardinals blow it multiple weeks in a row, and it's upset me to the point where I'm fading them.
Bears versus the 49ers.
This is another one. I'm taking Chicago.
I don't have this picked. I really don't.
Lock in. I'm taking Chicago.
Niners coming off an ass whipping in Buffalo.
No Trent Williams. Yes. No Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa is doubtful, which leads me to believe he will not play.
But this is about Caleb Williams. Brock Purdy was going to play better in this one.
Yeah, Caleb Williams will play better.
Give me Chicago. I'll take Chicago in this one.
And I'll tell you what, San Fran's pretty heavy favorite right now. I'm taking Chicago. I think they go out there, and I think regardless of how it goes, I think Caleb will have a pretty solid performance. Keenan Allen really has been a bright spot in this offense these last couple of weeks. Give a little love to DJ Moore also these last 2 weeks. He's definitely shined. But really, we're starting to see the offense come together. More importantly, the pass offense. For me, though, I do think that their rush defense is a concern. I think Isaac Guerrero is going to go out there in his first game with a majority of the opportunity. He's going to have himself a good ball game. But I think that Chicago will be able to do enough to get this W.
The Bears have been so close for multiple weeks now. They almost beat the Packers. They almost beat the Lions. They're on a losing streak right now. They desperately need a win. Even though the Niners just got their ass kicked, their season is not over technically. Mm-hmm. If they can win, the Bills beat the Rams and the Cardinals beat the Seahawks, it gives the Niners a chance to still win the division. I think they know that. I think this is an opportunity for them to save their season. I think they're going to come out, and I think they're going to handle business and win this game.
I'm going to have your water.
Yeah, take it.
This is tough. This was the toughest game of the week for me. Because I feel like they're both due for different reasons. I think, of course, both of these teams are on losing streaks. San Fran's lost 3 in a row. Chicago's lost 6 in a row at this point, I believe, right? They were 4-2.
Yeah,
they're 4-8 now,
much,
so they've lost 6 in a row. And San Fran is coming off getting embarrassed in Buffalo. And Chicago's coming off like 3 games in a row where they were right there, and it's just down to the last couple of plays they end up losing.
New head coach.
I'm taking San Fran. Okay. I don't feel good about
New head coach bump is correct.
It works for everyone but the Jets.
Is this their first game without Eberflus?
Yes.
Oh, right, because there's Thanksgiving.
And
Facts.
they have a bye, a mini bye week. Yep.
Facts.
Yep.
Didn't think. Yeah, I already said it.
Hey, listen, you're a Caleb guy. This is the opportunity.
I fuck with Caleb. Yeah.
This is you made a take this week.
I'm here back. We're back, bro.
You said the 49ers window is closed. You know, what better way to show that if they lose to the Bears?
It would be.
That's officially closed window.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, next game. Bills versus Rams.
Oh, I'm taking the Bills in this one.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills too.
Got Buffalo.
I got the Bills in this one. Sunday Night Football. Chargers versus
good one.
Chiefs.
It's a good one. This was tough too. I picked Kansas City, and I picked it somewhat confidently, but the Chargers could win this game easily. I think they've been playing better football, honestly, even though their record is not as good.
If this was off the heels of the Ravens game or the Bengals game, I have more confidence. The fact that the Falcons defense did that, and I have no respect for the Falcons defense, the fact that they made the offense that tough for the Chargers scares me a lot. I was going to pick the Chargers in this one because I feel like there's some symbolic thing going on here where it's the passing of the torch, Jim Harbaugh era. Jim Harbaugh era. It's like, okay, listen, you have to worry about us now, KC, because, you know, we're here. But
They have 0 playoff wins.
Passing the torch is hilarious.
no, but listen, you got to win some games in your division.
it's
That's what you
a
got to
they've
do.
arrived moment.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Passing the torch is
Passing the
nuts.
torch is like you retire.
They
You're
beat them in the
done.
playoffs
You know what I
multiple
mean?
times.
Would you be surprised if next year the Chargers win the division?
Yes.
I wouldn't be shocked, but that makes
You'd be
me.
surprised, like shocked?
Yes.
I wouldn't be shocked.
I wouldn't. If the
Brother.
Chargers have an amazing offseason, they could do it.
This is my division. The Chiefs run it, unfortunately.
No, I don't disagree.
So you'd be
but
shocked if the Broncos won next year?
Yeah.
With
I would
all
be
the
more
offseason
surprised.
moves they could. No, yeah, that's more of a stretch. But I'm saying
Why?
because you don't have
Go
Justin
next,
Herbert.
brother.
Who cares?
What do you
We're
mean? Who
talking
cares?
about
Justin
two of
Herbert's
the
the top
best
quarterback in the
five
league.
quarterbacks.
I don't
Yeah.
care.
What are you
Bo
talking
Nix is
about?
nice.
He's falling off.
What do you mean?
Herbert?
He's not a Herbert
Yeah.
guy no more.
He's
We know
falling
that.
off.
We knew
That's
that.
not even true.
That was the
We knew
moment.
that.
We
We
got
knew
it.
that. We've been
Once
knew
he
that.
said, I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck.
got
Herbert's been top 5 for multiple years, and they haven't been great. Yes, Harbaugh is a difference
had no
maker.
defense.
Right?
Agreed.
They're 8-4 right now, and that was with Harbaugh just coming in, being like, "All right,
I'll
let's
play
figure
devil's
this out year
advocate.
one."
They're like the same record basically.
say
They
we're-
haven't had a good off. If they had a good off season, you would expect them.
We had
That's what I'm
85
saying.
dead million. He's talking about us.
I know.
85 dead million in cap. We're 8-5 with a blocked field goal away from being 9-4.
Yes.
I'm just saying you feel a lot more confident than because they have Herbert. We have money this offseason.
They
So
do
do
too.
they.
But again, we have money this offseason. Our
They do
defense is
too.
better than theirs.
Their
Their
defense,
defense is good.
is similar.
No,
they
it's
have a
not.
great defense. Do you have two pass rushers as good as Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa?
Well,
no,
Khalil
you do
Mack's
not.
old as fuck. Nick Bonito
He's
is as
been
good
great
as
this year.
anyone
Nick
this
Nick
year.
Bonito has not been as good
And
as Khalil
Zach
Mack
Allen
this year. No,
Nick
he's
Bon-
not.
Why?
Because Khalil Mack has been better on the field. What are you talking about?
Nick
Why?
Bonito has been a difference maker every single week.
Nick Bonito has been really, really good. But he
Defense,
has not
Zach
been
Allen,
Khalil Mack.
Jonathan Cooper.
Bro, defense aside, this is a team that's coming into the season
Nah,
with
for
J.K.
sure.
Dobbins off an Achilles, with Gus Edwards, who's terrible, with one wide receiver, which I guess you can make
Okay,
the
I'm
argument.
gonna say-
you can make the argument with Denver,
Thank
but
you.
when you add weapons to Justin Herbert, I have more faith that offense is going to go from
course.
middle of the
It's
pack to
Herbert. Yes.
a high
And
level
also,
offense
it's
than Bo
a
Nix.
great
I get it.
defense. It's not like it's not a great
they've
defense.
played
Even if you
good
think the Broncos defense is better, the
offenses,
Chargers
I don't
defense is
know.
also great.
Also, I think Ladd is better than Sutton.
What are we basing this on?
You guys are
I
in the
think he
same
will be.
division.
Maybe
You guys
this
have,
year,
Thank
this year
you.
it's close.
you guys
Sutton's
have faced the
amazing.
same
This year it's
opponents
close.
pretty much.
And again, we've won.
Yeah,
Majority
but
of our games.
I showed the
except
yard
first
per
two.
route run numbers.
yeah, but you're
they love Ladd.
They do love Ladd, and I get it. Ladd's really great.
yeah, but you're saying that the Broncos defense is so much better, but you guys have faced the same opponents, and you're knocking the Chargers defense for the opponents they've played.
But when they played the Bengals, when they played the Ravens
You
did
haven't played the
scorch us
Bengals
too.
yet.
Yeah,
The
fair.
Ravens scored more on you guys.
They did.
Yeah.
Well, no, they put up 30 points.
They put up 40 on you.
But they still dominated the both of us. 30 and 40.
I think the defenses are close. I don't think one is drastically better than the
I think
other.
we're more talented than
If
they
the
are.
defenses are close and you're giving Herbert more weapons
Of course,
offensively,
which makes sense.
Yes. That's all I'm saying. Look, I think this is a symbolic game. I was so close to picking the Chargers, but then I read a report that DJ Humphries is playing at left tackle, and DJ Humphries is such a massive upgrade over Wanya Morris and Kingsley that this is the move that could potentially ride the ship for the Chiefs. So
Oh, they're
I'm
back.
I'm paying attention to this
guy's
game.
crazy.
I'm paying attention.
From passing the
If-
torch to their back.
if DJ Humphries
Rib.
gives them a good performance,
Last episode, he said the Chiefs can't win the Super Bowl.
it's going to be much tougher this year. It is.
No, I know.
It is.
I know. I'm
It
just.
is.
I'm
It
just
is.
asking.
It is.
Just
no.
asking.
Hey, I'm talking about the offense, mister. I'm not talking about the defense.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking
But,
about the offense.
even still, you said turning the ship makes me think that they're a contender again.
Yeah,
Because they're already 11-1. There's not much to turn around.
Right now, there's multiple ships that need to be turned for the Chiefs. The defense is
one
not
fucking
good.
shit, brother.
No,
It's one team.
the defense is not good. The offensive line, the tackle position is not good. If they can fix the left tackle position,
fucking 4-4
and you have Mahomes comfortable in the pocket,
ships
yes,
on one
that's a major shift.
Why don't they just play Tooney at left tackle?
They did, and he got smoked
Did he get
last
smoked?
week. Yeah,
I got KC, man.
but
Every week I vow Casey.
but it was so
Casey?
bad last week. They took Wanya Morris out and
know.
they put Joe Tooney
I
at
know,
left tackle.
that's why I say that.
Yeah, but now DJ Humphries is back, and that's the signing they made to shore up the left tackle spot. So we'll see if it works. We'll see if it works.
This voodoo shit's up, man. This team is not winning again. Oh, some bullshit. I got the Chargers in this one.
Here we go.
Last year I got called an idiot.
I got the Chargers, man. I don't
He's
think
talking about this game only, though.
Yeah, no, this.
So you're saying Super Bowl, you still got give them a chance, though?
Yeah. I'm saying this game.
If Dobbins was healthy, I would
Their
have
rush
much more
defense.
faith.
Whoa, why?
Because Gus Edwards, I think he's
No,
terrible.
I agreed.
You know what I
They
mean?
really have no juice in the
really
run
is
game
awful.
without JK. It was night and day watching him. Even after he
Vidal
went
should
against
get
the
touches
Ravens.
over him, bro. Vidal should be. If I was Greg Roman, I would have Vidal as RB1. Give him the first half. Can he do something? Because Gus Edwards, I already know Gus Edwards doesn't give me anything.
Oh, got it. What did the Broncos offense do against Atlanta?
That was early in the year, right?
No. That was a couple weeks ago.
Atlanta. I can't
Oh, that's
remember
the
that
game that was schemed
Oh,
up.
They
you
were
at
much
home.
better.
It was a
Facts.
schemed up offense.
My bad. Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
They were much better.
It's a schemed
so
up
is
offense.
Bo Nix better than Herbert?
Sean Payton just might be a better play caller than Harbaugh.
Well, Greg Roman calls the plays.
Regardless, you
Chargers
know Jim
beat you
Harbaugh
guys.
has.
The Chargers beat you guys.
They did.
He said Harbaugh.
Harbaugh has offensive,
Greg Roman calls the plays, though, bro.
but Harbaugh's an offensive mind.
You don't got to argue this. You're wrong. Like it's
Why?
No, Greg Roman calls the
So
plays.
Sean
It's not
Payton doesn't
Harbaugh.
call the play for us.
He does,
does.
but he's an offensive play caller.
But Jim Harbaugh is an offensive mind. You don't think he has final say?
I think Greg Roman calls it. You're telling me who calls the plays. Greg Roman calls the
Okay,
plays.
so regardless, we have a better play caller than
Yes,
than
no,
the
y'all
Chargers.
do. No,
Easily.
yeah,
By a
y'all
lot.
do. Yes, 100%.
Greg
I agree
Roman's
with you.
fucking
And we
great.
have the better head coach.
It's close.
Is it?
Yeah.
Sean Payton's a champion.
Okay. Sure, that's fair.
We're not talking NCAA.
I know. Sean Payton was a champion like
Yeah,
fucking
you know that's your Michigan coach.
15 years ago with Drew Brees, brother. Like,
Michigan
He coached the Chargers now. I don't give a fuck about him.
Jim Harbaugh might have more playoff wins since 2010.
probably.
That's not true.
Nah, Sean Payton was around for so long.
No, but they went through like a drought where they didn't make the playoffs because their defense was so bad.
But also,
they went back.
When Jim gets there year one, he turns around right away. Sean Payton didn't do it.
Well, we went to 8 wins.
Yeah, I mean, first time with San Fran, they went to the NFC Championship game. This year, they're going to the playoffs.
We're going to the playoffs in year 2.
Hey, listen, I think
85
so
dead
we're
million.
comparing year one.
85 dead million.
Comparing year
I
one.
mean, listen, what the Broncos have done is amazing, and I think next year you're
the
gonna
best story in
I
the
just
league.
think I think they're on the same level of coaches.
you're gonna have a
One
chance
is
to win the
not higher
division
than
next
the
year
other.
too.
I know.
I know. All I'm saying is that
We're up.
I think the Chargers, like, this is a division that's much harder, and right now you need some threats with KC, and it hasn't
Until
been
they
that way.
lose, I'm sorry. You can't say that someone's going to take it from him.
Disrespectful
No, I
to
understand
Jim,
that.
man. You fell off.
I don't give a fuck about him.
off.
I genuinely don't.
So
Now-
where is Sean Payton in terms of NFL head coaches?
Top 5 right now.
Top
Easy.
5. Where's Jim?
Top 10 probably. He's just not top 5.
I think he's.
Who got it better than us, man?
Who got it
Nobody.
better than us is fucking right.
It's Chargers, baby. That's the Chargers slogan. Don't go stealing it now.
I don't give a fuck. I know the
Oh,
Broncos
man.
have it better than them.
So you have the Chiefs.
yes.
You
got
have
the
the Chiefs.
I got
You
Chargers.
have the Chargers.
Yeah.
I really respect you for picking the Chargers.
should pick
I
them.
really do.
This is your team. You're a
This-
Chargers
I'm
fan,
so
aren't you?
close
I'm not a
to
Chargers
picking
fan.
the Chargers.
I'm not talking about
I'm
you.
so close to picking the Chargers. I feel like
get
there's
over the edge
something
and pick 'em,
here. But I'm going with the Chiefs. I think their
He has his
offense
other
plays
team.
really well.
He doesn't lose here in this scenario.
Bengals versus Cowboys.
Bengals.
Come on.
I don't know.
Bengals,
Oh yeah, Bengals.
Clean sweep Bengals.
Monday
You tell
Night
me.
Football.
Yeah, I'm going clean sweep
Bengals,
Bengals.
Dallas. Here we go. Cooper
Monday
Rush.
Night
Joe
Football.
Burrow. Can't wait. Let's see. Bengals are 4-8. They went out. What do we think?
9-8. Need some things.
It's
to
not
happen.
good enough.
Need some luck.
Need
Not good
some
enough.
Insane
Probably
luck.
cooked.
That's it. Russell
Yes.
Wilson ended their season. Imagine that.
Week 17, Broncos Bengals.
Not just Russell Wilson, Jaden Daniels, Saquon Barkley,
Jacoby Brissett.
Lamar Jackson, Jacoby Brissett, like just the
Listen,
Cincinnati Bengals
it
defense.
could come down to that game. I mean, the Bengals will have to win everything else, obviously, but
I'm not worried about
because
it.
you have the Chiefs
have
week
the Colts.
18. You do. You have the Chargers week 16.
Again,
If you beat the Colts, you basically get in.
I know.
Yeah, that's all you guys need right now.
Not worried about it.
Yeah.
Okay, shit, man.
Now I'll be
believe you,
honest
though.
though, the chart. So there's a couple games on this slate that I feel like are interesting, and not that we have to talk about it too much more, but I just want to highlight the
You were
ones that
Mr.
matter.
Play It Safe this week.
Seahawks, no. These are my picks and a sleeper.
I'm telling
the 1
you.
o'clock slate, the interesting game is Kirk Cousins returning to Minnesota.
I'm telling you, off of your picks, you were Mr. Play It Safe this week.
a little bit.
Wow.
I guess.
That's not you.
You think Seahawks and Cardinals is playing it safe?
I
picking the
do.
Cardinals.
I do think so.
Seahawks
I think,
just
it's
won.
I think it's a coin flip, but
Yeah, honestly.
Interesting.
So
And San Fran, after you've been very vocal about them. And the Chiefs.
they're done. The Niners are done.
Agreed.
Yes, they're done. They are done.
But you
did you
picked
take
them.
Chicago or San
I
Fran?
took Chicago.
yeah, the Bears are a 4-win team.
I understand. And
Yeah.
the Niners are a 5-win team.
Took only.
Yeah, but it's like
oh,
a
no.
difference.
Took 3 away teams.
Yeah,
this
I
week.
did.
Okay.
Okay, looking at the games that matter the most: Seahawks, Cardinals, Chargers, Chiefs.
You played it safe every time.
And I really
that's
think
not you.
I really think that's it.
Joel, that's just not you.
Listen, the storyline of Atlanta and Minnesota.
You know what I mean? Like, Joel, I know that's
No
not
one wants
you.
to talk about Minnesota.
I know.
Going home.
Like,
Maybe
I was expecting at minimum one of those to be, I'm going to take the dog there.
Maybe I needed to do that with the Falcons, man, but I don't trust Kirk. He's too washed.
Against Minnesota?
Yeah,
I get that.
Jets.
no. Don't talk.
You were
about the
talking
Jets.
crazy about it before the show.
Yeah, fuck the
Low-key
Dolphins.
Browns.
Is that sneaky?
No,
It is
not
sneaky.
again. Twice?
Imagine.
No, I mean, you
Just
were,
weird shit
Yo,
like-
enough. And you were getting on him for talking shit about the Chiefs. You were just saying how the Steelers are going to win a
For
playoff
sure.
game.
I said they could. I said
Pick
kind
a
of
side, man.
All I said was it's not the same Steelers as years past, which I think is true.
Literally just last year.
Stupid ass.
No, last like 2 years, 3 years.
True.
Yeah, really ever since Ben's last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Chargers and Chiefs is the most interesting to me because I just think the Chiefs are off the heels of barely beating some really bad football teams.
Do you think the Panthers are a really bad football team?
I think they're pretty bad.
I don't disagree. I think they're a lot better than where we started.
Grand scheme of things.
Agreed. No doubt.
The Raiders mostly, they almost lose.
Division
Aiden
game.
O'Connell throws for 300. I just look at this matchup and really what scared me, like I said, is how the Chargers played offensively against the Falcons. That really scared me because I have no respect for the Falcons defense. So maybe off the bye they had such a much better game plan and stuff, but I mean even then, Ladd McConkey's the only player that could do anything for them
You're cooking. Well,
from
this
a
week-
receiving standpoint.
Well, this is not bad, but I understand what you mean. Receiving.
Yeah, but did you see the box score versus the Falcons? It was Ladd McConkey and everybody else had like less than 10 yards receiving.
like
No one
that-
else had more than 2 catches except Ladd.
She was like that James Harden game where he had like 69 points in the rest of the
Last
players
year,
had
the Chiefs did lose 2 division games.
It might happen against
just
the
saying.
Broncos week 18.
Could.
Yeah.
Just saying, them almost losing to the Raiders isn't the end all be all.
No, it's not. It's not. But the Chargers really scared me with how they performed against the Falcons.
No, I agree.
Their defense
I think
was
Chargers
fine.
are wildly overrated.
Okay, sure. If you want to go with that.
I do believe
you
that.
can go with that. when they face the Broncos in a couple weeks, we'll see what happens, mister.
They could beat
Is
us.
that in Denver?
No, yeah, it's in Denver now.
You got home
I'm like
field and
90,
altitude
99%
advantage.
sure.
Yeah.
99% sure. Let's see.
Yeah, but to your point, I mean, I had to play a little safe this week.
You know what?
week-
You were kicking yourself over, but again, like I said, that's not you.
Yeah, listen, last week picking the Titans over the Commanders was not me either.
No, we're in LA. We lost at home.
Okay.
You were saying I apologize.
Yeah, last week I picked the Titans against the Commanders. That was not like
pick was
myself.
bad.
The Bengals, I could live with it. I could
I
live with
agree.
it. The pick six, definitely got my blood flowing. I got
And then Joe Burrow low key sold. They don't want to talk about it. Joe Burrow sold
The end of the Steelers game?
low key. That throw to T. Higgins was bad. That was a bad throw.
it got tipped.
Oh no, I
camera,
saw it. He
yeah.
threw it behind him. T. Higgins tried. But I'm just
Oh,
trying to,
yeah, yeah.
just it's tough. You Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Gotta lead him inside.
Defense up 44.
No,
Pick six.
The defense is up 38.
Yep.
dude, there's this stat with Joe Burrow that I think the Bengals have the most losses. They have the most points
gotta
per
protect
game
his
in
legacy.
losses
Fine.
in like NFL history.
Yeah, what?
The Bengals
most
are
points, though.
the Bengals are averaging the most points per game in losses in a single season in NFL history. They're averaging 27.8 points per game.
You know what Joe Burrow's experiencing? What Dan Marino experienced 95% of his career.
I haven't been fierce.
Putting
They're
up all-time
ruining Burrow,
offensive
man.
numbers, the defense is historically dog shit. Except Dan Marino had a good offensive line. Joe Burrow doesn't.
Honestly, if I don't like talking about the Bengals because I think their season's over already.
You don't like.
I don't like talking about them. At
Surprises
this point, the season's over. I think if they don't do something this offseason, they don't make the right moves, I think they need to sign T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is a given. They need to bring back T. Higgins. Like, you are going to skimp out on not paying him to pay Geno Stone and Sam Hubbard. Like, it just makes no sense to me. They need to bring those two back. If they mess up this offseason, I think Joe Burrow should ask for a trade next year. Like, if they don't figure it out in a year, I think he needs to go.
You think Mr. Cincinnati's going to walk away?
I think he needs to go. You can't let an organization like this waste your career. You cannot.
I don't think he will, but I wouldn't blame him.
Football players requesting a trade, man.
I love it, man. And NFL empowerment. We get that so much in the NBA.
Last time a player requested a trade, shit got ugly quick.
Aaron Rodgers?
He picked up 25 charges out of nowhere.
Oh, Deshaun? I thought you were talking about Rodgers.
That's the last notable one.
Yeah.
I guess, but Rodgers is more so like, it's either I play for the Jets or I retire.
Yeah. And that was, I feel like both sides, too, wanted him out.
And Russ and Deshaun was that the same offseason? Or was Deshaun the year before him?
Well, it had to be a year. He just missed a year, right?
I think so. It was the same.
Yeah.
I know their first years.
Aaron Rodgers was definitely a year after.
No, I'm talking Deshaun.
Deshaun was a year before.
I think
Russ.
so.
Russ. Okay.
All
right. Because then Russ counts. Because Russ did kind of ask for a trade. Mm-hmm. He said, I want to go to Denver, and they've
Joe Burrow getting traded, though, that would be different.
That'd be lit.
Deshaun, though, at the time, Deshaun was regarded as like a borderline top 5 guy.
No, of course.
So,
no, but I'm saying player empowerment. Last time it happened, this guy got
I wouldn't blame him, man. Cincinnati has not proven before Joe Burrow. I guess even with Joe Burrow, it's not like he had this God squad. You know what I mean? Like they had good pieces, but
Joe Burrow to Minnesota.
It's got JJ. If JJ doesn't work out,
you can just trade him.
Oh, JJ for Burrow?
And like obviously you have to do more.
I'll be honest, you did just cook.
Minnesota's ready to win.
Minnesota, you give him how many firsts are you allowed to trade in the NFL?
You trade all of them.
Hey, look, hoopla! You went from
3.
Jamar Chase to Justin fucking Jefferson. Nothing changes.
Can you go and give JJ 4 firsts for Joe Burrow? Would you accept that?
I think you could give up 4.
I would give
maybe 3, I don't know.
5,
No,
6.
But I'm saying, would you accept that if you're the Bengals? Would you accept 4 firsts and JJ?
Well, I would do everything to keep Burrow, but if Burrow's like, I'm not playing.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Wait, 4 firsts and Justin Jefferson?
No, JJ McCarthy,
brother.
JJ McCarthy.
Like, come on.
Imagine Chase and fucking Jefferson. Got no one to throw, but fuck it, man.
New Bengals quarterback, Daniel Jones.
I think that's valid. 4 firsts and JJ. I think that's valid. I think it's gonna at least take
Joe
4
Burrow
firsts to get
trade
Burrow.
talks, man.
Yeah.
How far we've come.
The trade machine.
How far we've fallen.
Okay, on to the NBA. The MVP ladder comes out every week. I think as we get further along in the season, these are going to become more meaningful. They just released theirs recently. And number 1 was Jokic. Number 2 was Giannis. Number 3 was Tatum. Number 4 was SGA. And number 5 was Cat. I think
Mets got Clay Holmes. Apologies.
The Mets?
That's got Clay Holmes.
Fuck.
I think having an MVP conversation right now is pretty dumb just because we're so early in the season. But let's just treat this as if the votes are finalized this week. We need to pick MVPs this week, how all the standings are. Basically, everything is concrete at this point in time. Who would your MVP be?
3 years, 38. That's a steal. They're going to make him a starter.
You stole him. Who, Cole? I'm sorry.
Holmes going to be starting.
Clay Holmes.
Yes.
No way. If I had to say MVP, are we back in best in the world combos, Riv?
No.
Riv, are we back in best in the world combos?
No shot.
Not a shot?
Yeah, no shot.
Talking about Giannis.
Yeah, I'm talking. I mean, there's only one person I would put in there.
He's just clearly better than Giannis.
And I get where it's coming from. I mean, you take Jokic off the court, the Nuggets are legitimately unwatchable. They're horrifically bad. With that said, I would make Jokic my MVP, but it is kind of boring, understanding. But to not try and steer away and just try and sound different, Jokic is the MVP for what happens when he's off the court. You understand how valuable he is to the team. Now, what stands out is, like, I think of like the plus minus when they're on and off, and immediately Joel Embiid comes to mind in that playoff series versus the Knicks. But you watch this season with the Nuggets. When Jokic is off the court, the offense dies. Everything about the success for the Nuggets is non-existent. When he's there, he has to carry. I've seen what's been going on in Milwaukee, and I see the improvement that Giannis has made to his mid-range, and it's really helped add to their offensive firepower. And of course, now their defense is starting to click. You're getting help from your role players, but where it begins and ends is with Giannis. He's shooting 62% from the field. He is the second most dominant player in NBA history. He is unbelievable in what he's been able to do this season. When you add the mid-range jumper to his game, especially at this efficient of a clip, you're seeing him be one of the best players in the game one or two, whether it's Jokic or him. But if I had to say my MVP, I'd give it to Jokic.
So Giannis is the second most dominant player ever?
Yes. Unless we count LeBron.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay, well.
I would count MJ.
It was Jordan's
No, number one is
Shaq.
Shaquille O'Neal.
I was counting guys. Like,
But Shaq is deemed the most dominant because he scored in one fashion.
I know what you're saying.
I'm going down. I'm fucking beating your ass down low.
Since you said second ever, I'm just like, damn.
No, and Giannis, although
Jokic?
he's added, you know what? That's a very fair statement to make. I know that saying Jokic is
More
up there
dominant
for
than
more
Giannis.
dominant. I hear where you're coming from, but Giannis is so. I'm getting downhill. I'm getting to the
think MJ
basket.
is more dominant
You
than
cannot
Joker.
stop me.
Yeah. If you're saying in just one fashion, then okay.
That's
Because
really what I
like
mean.
Joker has more than that, but still, most of his stuff is going to be around the rim.
But that's
But isn't dominated? I mean, I think what you're alluding to is just like a paint force.
presence. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
fair. Okay, yeah. Okay.
physically imposing was a
cool with
better phrase.
I don't know. Why did they give Shaq the dominant tag?
He's both.
In which way?
You couldn't stop him.
But agree. I don't think you can stop Giannis.
I think it's stop the Joker.
I don't disagree. But there's so many players you can't stop.
Can't stop
That's
LeBron.
reality.
Can't stop
It's because he
Jordan.
was just
You
like,
know,
like, you know what I'm saying?
Giannis
But I know
is
what
one
you're
of
saying.
the
I know.
strongest
Like, he
players
broke a rim.
ever.
So
yeah,
the-
Shaq's one for a reason.
MVP criteria is an interesting discussion to me because I can acknowledge Jokic is having the best season of his career right now.
Yes.
Without a doubt. They are the number one offense with him on the court. They are the worst offense in the NBA
comical.
when he's off the court. They are comically bad. Their depth is comically bad. And with Jokic off the court, it really bleeds into what the product that we're watching. But last year, him winning the MVP, I didn't think he had the best season last year.
I think Luka was MVP.
They
agreed.
gave Jokic the MVP because he had the best numbers on one of the best teams in the West. The Nuggets won 57 games. They were tied with OKC. The best numbers on the best team was really Jason Tatum, but Jokic had better numbers than Tatum, and they were also close to a 60-win team. Luka didn't get it because the Mavericks were a 50-win team, even though he averaged 34, 9, and 9, and he missed 12 games and it went 4-8 in those games. So it was clearly you saw that when he was on the court, the Mavericks, they didn't win games. So last year I thought Luka was the MVP, and now this year I see that Jokic is the MVP and he's having the best season. I'm not going to disregard that, but it feels like the criteria is changing based off what Jokic does. Like if Jokic is the best numbers or one of the best teams, he wins it. We saw him win it as a 6th seed when you had Giannis averaging 30, you had Embiid averaging 30, and yeah, what he did with the lack of supporting cast, you have to acknowledge it. So I'm not trying to rob Jokic of any MVPs. I'm just saying the criteria is changing a little bit when
not
it
fair,
comes
though.
to Jokic.
It's almost about Luka.
No, I do agree with him. Last year,
It's
the
not about
MVP
Luka.
was Luka.
And the reason why it's not about Luka, because yes, last year I think the MVP was Luka, and I
Agreed.
think he should have won
Last
the
year, it
MVP.
should have went to SGA.
I think
don't
that's
hate
a
that.
great
If we're
argument.
playing- hate
For
that.
playing the best player and the best team.
but I'm not doing that. I'm not
No,
doing
I'm
that.
saying like when he said, I forgot, you said
Jason
somebody,
Tatum. He said Jason Tatum was the best player on the,
you
Best
said,
numbers on one of the
you
best
said,
teams,
yeah,
yes.
the Joker was last year best numbers
But
on
that's
the
the
best
thing,
team.
Riv, is that Jokic and SGA, they had the same record, team record, and Jokic averaged 27, 10,
no,
and
didn't
10
OKC
essentially.
win 60 games last year?
They won the same amount of games last year.
I fucking felt like they won 60
Denver
games.
and OKC.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
So it's like, but Luka like averaged 34, 9, and 9. Like this year, if the MVP discussion like ended this week, and this is the conversation we're basing it off of, I don't think Luka's the MVP. I think it's Jason Tatum or SGA.
I disagree with both.
I
I think it's
think-
Giannis.
but why though?
I think
Agreed.
what- I
I'm
think
fine with
I
that.
think it's Joker.
It's a two-man race in my opinion. It's Joke or it's Giannis.
I think they've been playing the best. But I think SGA, no Chet for a majority of the season. They're still first in the West.
I can hear that.
Isaiah
Yep.
Hartenstein just
Absolutely.
coming back.
Yep.
SGA is averaging 30, 6 and 6, doing what he normally does on great efficiency. And then Jason Tatum, like I feel like nobody's really talking about the season he's having. And the Celtics are second in the East, only behind the Cleveland Cavaliers. All I'm saying is that I understand that Jokic and Giannis are having all-time seasons. But I wonder if they finish with the 6th seed, if the MVP will go to them, or if it will go to somebody else that has a higher seed and great numbers. Because last year, I thought that's how they voted on it. I thought they said, okay, the Nuggets are winning a lot. Jokic has great numbers. We'll give it to him. And they didn't actually give the award to the player who had the best season.
I will, and last thing I'll say, I apologize. I know I spoke a lot, but the MVP criteria changed with LeBron James. Whether you guys want to hear that or not, you guys know basketball. It's the truth. LeBron James changed the way that people vote for most valuable player. I still believe that Derrick Rose has one of his MVPs at his crib. I think that James Harden has LeBron James MVP at his crib. And I think that even the 2021 where Giannis was the most valuable player in the shortened season, I think that Giannis has his MVP at his crib. They changed that because they were tired of it. Now Jokic is here, and now people are under the same impression, or we're just going to give it to this guy every single year. But since I'm a guy who says LeBron should be a 6-time, 7-time MVP, I have to keep the consistency the same. Jokic is the best player in the league. I can hear Giannis because of what he's been doing, especially given, like we've mentioned, you take both of them off the court, both of these teams are going to bleed terribly. But when you're the best player, and you are the most valuable player, regardless of seeding, in my opinion, unless you're not in the playoff picture, if you're a top 6 seed and your team makes the playoffs and your impact is where when you're on the court, you're number one offense, when you're off the court, you're dead last offense, that's when it needs to trump, oh, you've won this award 3 of the last 4 years. We're tired of giving it to you. When you're the best, you're the best.
I think it's both. Like, my criteria, majority of it would be who is the best player in the NBA. Because as much as, of course, I'll sit up here and vouch for Tatum, Giannis and Jokic are on a different level right now.
Easy.
They're where they are playing individually and impacting the game. It's at a higher level than Tatum. I just think they're in a tier of their own right now. And Giannis, I mean, Jokic is having such good of a season that we're just kind of overlooking what Giannis is doing. The fact that he's been able to actually have a mid-range jump shot this year, and it's like not even really talked about, just like, oh, that's cool. Like, that doesn't open up a completely different part of his game because we know how dominant he could be in the paint. So number one, I think, is still who is the best player, who is putting up, I don't care if you look at eye test, raw numbers, advanced numbers. I think all of that should be taken into account when we're talking about the MVP. And right now, it would be Jokic. The other, like, 20 to 25% is your team's success. Because if Jokic is having this historic of a season, but you're the 8th seed, even in a loaded West, there has to be something a little off there. Maybe it's injuries. There could be a lot of different things. But if you're not translating that to winning, you're going to get knocked down. Because, listen, like LeBron, for example, I agree. He should have won more MVPs. It's not like LeBron, the reason he didn't win MVP is because the fucking Cavs or the Heat or something was like the 7th seed one year, right? Like, he was constantly top of the East. So it definitely plays a part in it. But unless Boston or the Thunder do something historic as a team, I'm talking like touching close to 70 wins, number one offense, number one defense, like really going out there and playing some of the best team basketball we have seen, I would still give it to one of those two guys because they're just on a different level than the rest of the league right now.
I think the problem with the conversation is, and I agree, I think team success matters. I think there's just certain historical moments can happen where it can propel you from that 6, 7, or 5 seed and get you an MVP. 2 examples: Westbrook triple-double, the Joker triple-double.
Sure.
You know, you want to do a triple-double that's historic, hasn't been done in so long. They can bypass it if your team is really bad and they know you're basically the backbone of the team. There's other moments where you have the LeBron fatigue where, you know, you've won it multiple times, but then you have this different story, this different player who, you know, D Rose, for example, team was kind of mid offensively without him. They won 60 games. They kind of shocked the world. You kind of get that OKC tax where SG averaged 30, you become the number 1 seed, stuff like that. The new kid on the block, right? So I don't think it's hard to really have a criteria, a set one. I think it really is just, what do you think is better? Do you love to over exceed expectations as a player, put up these gaudy numbers, and your team is a 6, 7 seed, but you do so much that if you weren't there, they wouldn't even be at that spot? Or do you love who's the best player in on the best team in the league, who's been putting up those nasty numbers, or or other factors? Like, it's really just what criteria do you want to bring to the table? Do you think that brings more value? And we have multiple, like, in history, like even before LeBron, I felt like Kobe should have probably won more MVPs. Shaq should have won more MVPs. MJ probably is another one like LeBron who probably should have 8 or 9 MVPs. Bird should have more MVPs. Like, there's Kareem there's always that when you get that at that level in your game, like LeBron is and stuff like that, they're always going to find a way to not give you everything you need or everything you want. Because realistically, LeBron's been the best player in the league probably before like last 2 years for like a decade. It's been same thing with MJ. He was the best player in the league for like a decade. Bird and Magic were 1A, 1B for damn near a decade. Kareem, like 10, 12 years, best player in the league. So those top guys, obviously you can't give it to him every year. But I think for me this year, it's Giannis. I think just not only in the improvement of his game, but this Bucs team was not good probably like 3-4 weeks ago. You know, and he upped his level. He upped his game on both ends of the floor. I mean, like you mentioned, the Dehls. Him just randomly getting a mid-range shot at 30 and nobody says a word about it, or just we kind of just like, cool. Like, it's crazy to me. And we have, like, Giannis is pretty much, he's in the media. Like, this isn't somebody who's, you know, not fond of the media, doesn't talk a lot, you know, doesn't get all the interviews and the commercials. So this is a high-profile top 3, you know, player in the league. And we're just ignoring the fact that this dude is shooting over 47% from the mid-range. You know, this dude is still getting to the paint at will. The athleticism hasn't looked to slow down defensively. He's still that type of guy that can, you know, protect the rim and be that transition demon that you want him to be. The playmaking continues to improve every year. I mean, the only flaw in this game is the three-point shot, and now he doesn't even need to take it because that mid-range is there. Now you really can't guard. So I think with Giannis, and of course the post-game continues to improve. I think for me, Giannis, you know, is the MVP. I can hear other arguments for sure. I think the problem with team success is it's so early into the season that team success is fluctuating. Because I think Denver right now has 13 wins.
They're
or
the
something
8th
like
seed.
Yeah, and Milwaukee's 2 wins below them.
They're
like,
the 5th seed.
Yeah, it's like, so it's like the outside of Cleveland and maybe Boston, everybody's pretty much right there with each other. I mean, do we have to find the MVP now for the Houston Rockets? You know, do we have to find MVP for Memphis because they're at the top of the West? You know, do we have to sit here and go lie and say Donovan Mitchell's been the MVP because their team has 20 wins? You know, I don't think we should do that. So I think team success at this point, still a little bit too early. So you really got to just, if you want to have this conversation, look into the numbers on a team that's still relatively winning. And for me, that's Giannis.
My issue with it is just the criteria seems to be inconsistent, because I think the criteria should be simple. Who's been the best player statistically this year in the NBA? And I feel like every other year, that's not how the criteria is. Sometimes it's who's been the best, but this guy has the best numbers, but man, they've only won 50 games. So no, he can't be MVP. Like, there are players that every year get disqualified from being MVP if they're not as high as a 3 seed. And now we see the Nuggets right now is the 8th seed. They lost to the Mavericks with no Luka, by the way, when Jokic was playing. Luka. And this is not about Luka. This is more about Jokic, because I think he's the one that's been dominating the MVP landscape, as he should. He's the best player in the world. In 2022, he was a 6th seed. They won 48 games. We understand what happened that year.
This was an elite season.
We understand what happened that year when, you know, no Jamal
sucked.
Murray, no Michael Porter Jr.
That Monte Morris,
Facundo
Campazzo.
This year, Jokic averaged 27, 14, and 8. All these other 3 players I'm about to mention, they were a better seed, and they had similar numbers. Embiid averaged 31, 12, and 4. 68 games he played. Giannis averaged 30, 12, and 6. He played 67 games. Luka averaged 28, 9, and 9, and he played a similar amount of games to Jokic as well. All these players had similar numbers. They had better team success, yet the award went to Jokic. And I understand the narrative and the storyline as to why it happened. And then last year, I didn't think Jokic had the best season. And then this year, I do think he's having the best season. But now it's like, okay, last year, winning mattered. You know, you had to be a top 3 seed. But this year, no, look at what they're doing. It doesn't really matter like that. It's like, I mean, yeah, look at what other dudes did in their seasons that didn't win it. Like, I remember still when Giannis won the MVP over James Harden, when James Harden was looking to go back-to-back. Right? And I'm not going to disagree that Giannis had a spectacular season, because he did. But James Harden had a historic season. And the reason why Harden didn't win MVP was because of a couple game difference, even though Harden dealt with more injuries. Chris Paul was hurt. Clint Capella was hurt. And he was doing things that we haven't seen since Wilt Chamberlain. Like, he was on that much of a scoring tear. It's one of the best scoring seasons in NBA history. And it's not going to get remembered because the criteria that year was production and wins.
But didn't Giannis also win DPOY that year?
He probably did. But I'm saying James Harden had a historic year. Like,
but so did, to his credit, like you said.
Not like James Harden.
You DPOY and you're an MVP.
James Harden that year, he was averaging 35, I think. Like, every night he was giving somebody 40. He was having triple doubles. I mean, he was carrying that Rockets team.
The scoring was insane.
Yeah, but it's also they picked up Kenneth Faried off the street, and he was averaging 15 and 10. Like,
that was Eric Bledsoe Bucks though. That wasn't Drew Holiday Bucks yet.
I know, but I'm talking about
Kenneth Faried.
I'm talking about
No,
the.
I understand that. But I'm
Rockets.
saying but I'm also talking that Bucks team. It wasn't the greatest.
It was solid.
That Bucks team was still really good. They've always been like a great regular season team. All I'm saying is like
they were
James
playoff matchup dependent.
James Harden, the year before, they were the number 1 seed in the West. That's because they were healthy. The next year, they were unhealthy. Like Clint Capella went out, Eric Gordon didn't.
No,
he
wasn't
was
it flip-flop?
injured.
The
Chris
first year,
Paul.
they weren't healthy.
No, the first year they were healthy and they ran the table. Honestly, outside of Golden
Chris
State.
Paul was
obviously.
missing mad time that year, was he not?
No, he is actually healthy that year. Yeah, it was the second year that he was unhealthy, and James Harden he had to carry a starting lineup of Austin Rivers, PJ Tucker, and
Your
Kenneth
guy.
Faried. He really carried that year.
did.
So that's why I'm saying the criteria changes, and I think it's because there are certain people that there's certain biases. Like I think there's a certain bias against Luka. I think there's a certain bias against Tatum that Tatum, even because he's on the best team, this point we don't even care that the team is good. We're just like, oh, okay, yeah, that team's good.
finished top five one
I also
year.
was wrong. The DPOY was the following year.
Okay.
Apologize.
So, but yeah, like that's where to me, it's like the criteria is a bit inconsistent. And that's why I wanted to start this conversation by saying if the season ended today, because Jokic is the 8th seed. And if the Nuggets are not as high as like a certain seed, even without how well he's playing, I think this is the best season of his career. I don't think the criteria has to keep changing depending on what guys we like and what guys we don't like.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's just it's hard to say like 20 games into the season, be like, oh, this is the guy, because yeah, if it ended like this and the Nuggets are the 8th seed, even though Jokic's playing so damn good, it's like, I don't know, man. It would be tough for me to give him the MVP vote. And same thing with Giannis. I mean, they're the 5 seed right now, so not as bad.
You think you're the 8th seed with the best player in the world. You're probably fighting for Cooper Flagg if he's not on your squad.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But that's
also,
a kind of insane discrepancy.
also
is.
like the Nuggets team, it's not great, but it's not dog shit.
The issue, I hear where you're coming from. They kind of have been playing like dog shit,
I mean,
though.
Jamal hasn't been, of course, like Jamal has taken a big step back. That's why I think the biggest reason for why they haven't been playing as well. Of course, they lost pieces with Bruce Brown,
Tatum?
KCP through the years. Huh?
No Tatum?
What?
No
oh,
Tatum?
MVP?
No, I'm sorry, in the game. I'm looking at live bets.
Oh, I don't know. He's got like 12 or something, 14.
I will say this has been some of my favorite Tatum I've watched, though.
He's got
Yeah,
16.
no, he's playing amazing. And the last thing I'll say
7
on
to
this
12.
subject
No,
is that
6-13.
there have been other seasons where like we give like when Jokic won MVP in 2022, the best team in the league at that year was the Suns, 65 wins. But we knew they didn't have like a real MVP candidate that can actually challenge Jokic. Like they didn't have the numbers to do that. And then I think Jokic's first MVP, the first seed was the Utah Jazz with Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. You knew there wasn't a real MVP candidate there. But in 2022, when he, took that squad to the playoffs, he was awesome. I mean, we had some real legit MVP candidates. Like, we had some dudes. And I think that's what's happening this year, where I think we have some dudes. Like, I think SGA averaging 30, Tatum averaging close to that, and being at the top of their conferences, like, I don't think you can just brush that by and be like, no, we got to give it to the dude who's having the best statistical season.
When Steph Curry came in second place when he didn't make the playoffs, who won that year? Was that Jokic?
Joker.
See, that's the one where I could have heard Steph Curry low-key winning that one. I know that the Nuggets made the playoffs, and obviously Steph Curry and the Warriors didn't. But Steph Curry that year was, in my opinion, the best player in basketball. He was otherworldly that year.
That's when
He
he had
was.
the flat top.
Bro, he was insane.
Yeah,
it was 30 every single night.
Kelly Oubre on the squad and shit.
Facts.
What a team, man.
Wasn't that oh my God, Toscano Anderson?
Yes. Well, he dunked on JaVale McGee the next year after that. Fucked up.
That
year.
team was ass.
That team was dog shit, bro. They had Damian Lee in the
Facts.
That team sucked, bro.
Yeah, it was weirdly fun to watch, though.
That was Wiggins' first year, I think.
I think it was.
Yeah, it was Wiggins' first year.
Because the next year after that, you guys put it together and won.
Yeah,
Because
that
Poole
team-
was playing.
Yeah, that team sucked, bro.
Yeah.
And y'all got Clay back. Y'all got
yeah,
Draymond was healthy that year.
Draymond, that was the year,
Draymond,
remember?
I'll never forget
remember
against
the
Memphis.
game? Bro, did a floater and it did nothing. And I'm like, yeah, it's over.
Not like you.
That was so bad.
That game was nasty, too.
Because you had a great game versus us. And then
Yeah.
you had, although it was a great game versus the
That's the shit with
Grizzlies.
LeBron told me I can't see. I can't lying like
Legend.
a
You think I give
fucking
a fuck?
liar,
You think
bro.
he saw 3, he just said, shoot middle, baby.
No, that game was tough. That game was
Oh,
goofy. That game was a
gee.
movie. In Memphis, I hate them so much.
We have 2 teams last year that made the conference finals that they're struggling to find their footing
No
this
frauds.
year.
Oh.
One of them
To your squads.
is in a different scenario than the other, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
The Wolves and the Pacers are both struggling mightily. I would say the Pacers look much, much worse. Will any of them figure it out? Riv, what do you think?
We need to start talking about the Pacers, man. They're just ass. Two different scenarios, two of your teams. Surprised you didn't go first.
You could just push it back onto him.
Nah, I'll talk because I don't really got too much to say about both of these teams. Listen, I think Indiana's problem is really simple. They're one of the worst defenses in the league. I mean, like
Their offense.
Their offense
They
was
dropped off a cliff.
They're
Their
20th.
offense-
They went from all-time great historic.
And I think that's the problem because you saw last year this defense was trash. You know, yeah, Pascal Siakam when he got there, they looked a little bit better.
Respect
but
the best player on the team.
I think the defense looked a little bit better just because of the fact that they played some bad teams down the road and they got lucky a few times. But for the majority of the season, this defense was not good. And
I just put 2 and 2 together.
What?
Pascal Siakam's the best player on the Pacers,
And that's why they're mid?
and that's why they're a lot of the team.
You're not wrong there. I think
Yeah, blame Tyrese.
that too.
It's
That-
on Tyrese.
That's where I thought you were gonna go. I thought you were gonna get nasty.
I mean,
oh, okay.
you got
That's- my bad, my bad.
yeah. So Miles Turner, he's just not the defensive center.
Honestly, I'm so happy. So happy about that.
He's not the defensive center you kind of want, to backbone your defense. And you got a couple guys that, show the effort on defense, guys that I like to call the tryhards, that they look like they can play really good defense, but they just don't have the personnel. There's nothing wrong with that. But this offense was supposed to be the one we saw last year. This offense propelled this unit. They got out and run. They hit a ton of threes. They were efficient. They were cohesive. And it was, lumping up for, a bad defense. We saw Toronto a couple years before that be a really great defensive team and not be, I think it was Scotty's rookie year, really great defensive team, not that great offensively. When you have one or the other, you tend to be able to win games in the regular season.
Year
that
they
can
went up
get you
against
far.
Philly, that they were down 3-0?
Yes,
Got
that
you.
year.
I'm
Yeah,
with
you tend, if you have a really great offense or a really good defense, Orlando's also another team, you tend to, you can put a band-aid on some things and make the playoffs. But this offense has taken a fall off because of one man only. It's Mr. No Left Hand. I mean, this guy.
Mr. can't play on the road.
I can't play
Mr.
on the road
needs his
because
own
of my
bed.
Where's
bad-
Carson when you need him, man?
Yeah, I just listen.
Tyrese Halliburton is talking about. by the way.
Tyrese Halliburton, listen, he had a few couple
Can't even
games.
say his name.
Yeah, that guy. Tyrese Halliburton, he had a few couple games. Joel texted us he might be back. We
Sent
ignored
screenshots
it.
of those,
We
yeah.
ignored it.
He
'cause
had a
they
good
know-
game on the road a couple of days ago.
And then he came back, and it was just like
against the
As
Raptors.
recently, Tyrese has been fine.
he's been fine.
He's been good.
He's had some
Yeah.
stinkers for sure.
No, he's had more good games than bad.
Did you remember the
games as
Memphis?
recently.
Oh, you didn't watch it. I think I did. He was dog shit.
Is Drew about to check the real app? Is he about to look at these game logs?
Look at the game log because he was dog shit against Memphis.
Well, tonight he's got 9 points. He's 4 for 6 so far. 12 minutes. He's eating. Against Brooklyn, 17, 5 for 13. Against Toronto, this was on the road. 10 for 16, 30 points. That's the game I was alluding to. Versus Memphis, 8 points, 3 for 10.
That was the screenshot against fucking Toronto.
No, look, there's more games.
Versus Detroit, this is at home, 19 points, 8 for 13.
It's cute.
At home, Portland, 28, 8 for 15.
That's a one.
At home, Pelicans, 34, 12 for
Kills
23.
these ass teams.
At
Killing
home,
them.
21, 7 for 18.
He's been fine, bro.
Portland.
on the-
Pelicans, I don't give a
Portland
fuck about the
Pelicans.
Pelicans.
Hold on.
Toronto.
Hey,
On the road
Respect
versus
Detroit.
on the road versus Milwaukee, 6 for 14, 18 points. On the
This shit
road
sounds like-
against Houston, 4 points, 1 for 7.
I don't really think the entire Pacers fall off is on Tyrese. I think he deserves a bulk of the blame.
87%.
Majority of the blame.
I think there's a lot of things going on with the Pacers right now that,
What?
for one, they're taking less threes than they took last year.
for sure.
They're one of the bottom teams in terms of 3-point attempts this season, and they've lost some key rotational players like Isaiah Jackson. They lost him. Aaron Nesmith has only played like 6 games this year, and he's a knockdown shooter. He's a good defender, and not having him, now you have to have somebody else out there. And listen, I mean, Tyrese Halliburton is going to get the bulk of the blame. He's the star. But what happened to all this Andrew Nembhard hype? Have you guys seen his numbers
He's also
recently?
banged up as well.
He just came back against Memphis, I think. Was his first game
I
back.
think he's shooting like 20% from 3. He hasn't found
He's
his
only played
stroke
like
at
9
all.
games. So
He's literally played 9 games.
he hasn't been there for the fall.
But also, if you anticipated a huge lead from Andrew Nembhard, fucking shame on you.
And they were great in the regular season with him not having a huge lead.
But you definitely thought he would be better
Yes,
after the
for
conference
sure.
finals run.
He's only played
like
9 games.
I never thought he was going to make a huge leap, but like, I mean, he's giving you 9 points. Like,
But going from the best offense in basketball to a
20th. They're
bottom 10
20th.
offense isn't just because, like, Isaiah Jackson got hurt and Nesmith's been banged
Yeah.
up. Like, there's more than that.
I think the more part of it is the fact that last year they were a free-flowing offense that they passed the ball quickly. They were making quick decisions and reads. Benedict Mathurin being in the lineup, the ball sticks with him.
I didn't want to go and out him.
He's been playing well though.
That's exactly why I didn't want to go and out him.
They also need a guy that can.
Another guy.
They need a guy that can go get a bucket, like a real bucket, like not on a big man bucket, like not them weak ass buckets you think that the other guy gets. But no, they need a guy to go get one. Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
No, Halliburton. They need a guy to go get it.
I don't.
They need a guy to really go get. I'm not saying
a better bucket than
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying. You talk about the ball sticks.
That's why Mathurin takes into his hands.
No, that's
Because he'd be watching Halliburton and he's like, damn, I got to be the guy.
The problem is that the ball. They have two players in the lineup that the ball sticks with. Even Pascal Siakam, he calls his numbers sometimes, which he's an all-star, and
he's the best player on the team.
There are moments where the offense is not free-flowing; it's more iso-centric, and there's been more of that this year than last year. And defensively, we knew they were going to be bad. I think the big glaring issue is that they don't have enough athletes. If you look at the Pacers, they are generally an unathletic team, and Tyrese Halliburton is not the greatest athlete at point guard. But then you look at every other position, who are some real athletes that the Pacers have?
Benedict Mathurin was the one that stands out.
When he's healthy,
and he's not playing for them.
That's a good point.
They don't have Miles Turner isn't somebody that's he's coming from the weak side and he's gonna contest the shot.
So you're basically saying
but Nembhard's also 6'2".
They all can jump in the air like Hallie.
I just feel like right now the Pacers, their defense, it's been struggling for the past couple of years because they don't have real defenders. They don't have real athletic players.
He's cooking. Obi.
But Obi's more of a vertical athlete. He's not
side to side.
Agile. He's not quick.
So
he's
then
not
TJ
in front of you.
He's quick. Is side to side. He's quick.
But you look at the Pacers team top to bottom. It's just not filled with
it's a lot of
a team that really scares you.
No, team's mid.
And then the offense, like I said, the ball sticks with certain guys. Mathurin, biggest addition, and he's somebody that he's gonna call his number a lot. He's gonna ISO a lot. So I feel like those are the things that are plaguing the Pacers. And even if Halliburton figures it out, I just don't think this is the same free-flowing offense that we've seen. And it's why Rick Carlisle drafted Jarris Walker. He's a real athlete, but he's just so raw in every other area of the game that he's not able to make an impact. And then you have injuries to an athlete like Isaiah Jackson, who was one of their best rebounders, and now he's not there. So I think there's a lot of things wrong with this team. I think you could probably point to injuries being the main thing.
So it allows us to get to the answer to this question of the two teams. Which do you believe can actually turn it around? I'm guessing we're going round table Minnesota because their strength is still a strength. Is it the number one defense in the league like it was last year? No, it's not, but they're still a top 6 unit.
It's not even if which one of these, it's not a picking
thing.
Oh,
I thought that was the question.
Do you think any of them will figure it out?
So it's Pacers versus Wolves. That's what I thought.
Apologize. I thought we were picking one of the two to figure it out.
So you could say both aren't going to figure it out.
No, I really feel confident that the Pacers are not going to be
Indiana's a playing team.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Honestly, the only reason why Indiana's in here is just because they overachieved last year. If Indiana did if everyone was healthy and they would have got bounced in the first round, and they ended up being the 6th seed in the regular season, and now we're sitting here, they're going to be somewhere between the 6 and 8 seed. We're going to be having this conversation. But since they went on the run,
Hawks or Pacers?
Hawks have been playing extremely well lately.
Yeah,
they've been getting their groove, getting their stride.
And they beat Cleveland.
Hawks are better right now.
And that's with Trae Young being inefficient.
Hawks are better right now.
No, he's been inefficient for a long
time. He really has been. It's been killing me.
He's only averaging 20, 22, right?
But Jalen Johnson has been insane.
Yeah. Dyson Daniels.
DeAndre Hunter, too, off the bench.
Honestly, that's a good statement.
6th man of the year.
He's been incredible. He's been very fucking good.
Nice little cute team.
But the Wolves, talk about them real quick. Their defense still is good. I still think you have to respect that. But you want to talk about the offense. It's just something that leaves a lot for me to be desired. I understand that you have Anthony Edwards, a fringe top 10 player in the association. His 3-point shooting is still great. I expected it at some point to drop off. He's still shooting at a pretty respectable clip, especially given the number of threes that he's taking per game. That was a big question we had coming in, but I need to see a level of consistency on the offensive side, and I don't think that will happen. That's one thing I'll say because of the lack of consistent spacing where you're going to have, you have Randall, you have Gobert on the court at the same time. It's just trying to get downhill. There's a reason why Anthony Edwards is selling for so many 3-point shots. He's making them because I'll give him his credit. If you're going to make them, you can take them at like 8 threes, 9 threes a game, but you need some type of presence down low. And I feel like that team has become so ISO-centric that's where it loses me in that regard. But defensively at their core, they're still a very solid team.
Ant-Man, for as good as he's been as a 3-point shooter, he's fallen off everywhere else. He is a below average shooter, mid-range, paint, at the rim. So as great as he's been as a 3-point shooter, because I was looking at something the other day, his true shooting percentage is like sub 60%. I'm like, for fucking how many threes he's been hitting, like, why is it so low? But I just had his shot creator numbers up.
Shout out to shot creator.
Shout out to shot creator. Mid-range, he is 35%. League average is 41%. In the paint, he's at 38%. League average is 43%. And at the rim, he's at 59%. For a guy that is as explosive as him, get to the rim as well as he can, it's kind of shocking to see him be this inefficient, especially when his 3-point shot's going so good. Like, obviously he can make up for it and the points are there and he's still going to be impactful, but it's surprising that how good of a player or how good he was last year in those areas, that especially in the playoffs, this dude was shooting at a KD clip, at a step clip.
Sense,
Bro
though.
sacrificed his soul for that 3-ball.
But it makes sense. You take Karl Anthony Towns and you replace him with Julius Randle. It's not that same level of spacing. It's going to be harder to get downhill consistently.
I think the Wolves are pretty cooked too. I think the Pacers are cooked. Like, I think, I have less faith in them, obviously. I have faith in the Wolves only because of Anthony Edwards, and I think that he has certain leadership qualities.
Cooked in what regard? Won't make the playoffs?
I think they're a play-in team. I don't know. They're not a top 6 playoff lock to me. I think the Timberwolves are going to hover around that play-in area.
Jaden McDaniels.
He sucks.
Yeah, I think the major
He's not
problem.
good at basketball.
Yeah,
On offense. Defense is amazing. Offense, he's dog shit. Bro.
There's a lot of bad offensive players on that team.
The Timberwolves' leading assist per game player is Conley. He's averaging a 4.5 assists per game.
That's a problem.
Like, if that is your
playmaking not
lead
taking a leap
initiator, and Randall's one of your lead initiators, you just don't have enough playmaking juice. And this is the thing with Randall, and this was the thing in New York, is that 50% of the time Randall was really good. Like, his first season in New York wasn't good. His second season, when everybody wanted him out of town, he was really good. His third season, he wasn't good again. Then his fourth year, he bounced back. He was really good. You don't know what version of Randall you're going to get. And right now, the version of Randall that the Wolves are getting, for the most part, are those versions of Randall that Knicks fans hated. Like, they're not getting the best versions of him. Sometimes, like on a nightly occasion, he will show it. But Randall has been a negative for them. And Anthony Edwards, I mean, he's been vocal about it when he went out and made the statement that there are people that are playing with their own agendas. Now, it seems like he's cool with everybody else on the team, and there's only one new player that came on the team, and that was Randall. And Anthony
DiVincenzo too.
Yeah,
I feel like he
DiVincenzo
showed
too.
love to Randall, though, basically every time he could.
And Anthony Edwards, when he was asked the questions, he basically stood up for Chris Finch. He said, listen, Chris Finch is putting us in those positions. We're the ones messing up. Some people got their own agendas. And he said we aren't able to talk. We just have to talk.
I hear that. Dante comes to mind more than Julius.
I think both of them do. Dante, to me, is in a major slump. And historically, he has not started off the season off shooting well. So I think that he'll figure out for the most part. I think the Wolves, I don't know if they're going to do it, but they need to have a serious discussion about Randall being better served in another role. I think it makes much more sense starting Naz Reid to let Ant operate with more spacing and then Randall coming off the bench. But he's too much of a high-profile player and has too much of a reputation to do that, for them to do that move, and it's too early in the season. But the Wolves, to me, they're just not a team that has the best energy around them right now. Like, I do think that it's a lot of isocentric basketball. Their offense is very sluggish, and they take a lot of bad shots, and they've lost already to some pretty poor teams. I don't think the effort is there on a nightly basis. And I just look at other teams in the West that they're just so locked in that if the Wolves aren't giving that effort every night, they're going to get left behind. And that's what we're seeing.
How many teams in the West would you say are locked in? OKC.
OKC Thunder.
They
it's in Utah, but I think it's protected.
Facts.
I don't know, but I know it's in Utah.
They get the Pistons pick if they remain not like if they're not one of the 10 worst teams in the NBA.
So locked in. OKC, the Mavericks, the Grizzlies. Houston. Don't want to disrespect them.
The Suns if they're healthy.
But
If
that's
KD's
why I
healthy.
can't say that yet.
Yeah.
And then they lost.
When they're healthy, they're locked in.
When they are healthy, but that's really KD reliant, and now he's gone down twice. So I can't say they're locked
Is
in.
Golden State locked?
No, they just lost 5 until last night. 5 in a row until last night.
That's really the tier that they're in.
You know what I mean, though? Like,
But that's what I'm saying.
and then of those locked in teams, we know the Mavs are gonna keep going and be amazing because, of course, Luka just got back and they were winning without him. You know, OKC is gonna be amazing because, of course, they're doing this without Chet and they're still amazing regardless without him. Grizzlies have been playing some really great ball. I don't see them falling off, truthfully.
They're top 5.
As long as they stay healthy, that's another team.
They don't even need to stay healthy.
They're so
They
damn
haven't
deep.
been.
Their depth
That's
has
a good
won them
point.
games.
That's a good
They
point.
haven't been.
Jaren has been moving the shit out of me, and I think I owe him an apology more than I owe any other player this season because I questioned his drive to be better in his role, and he 100% has this year.
Well, Minnesota's on their fringe. You know, that's what they are.
Yeah.
They're fringe this year. And last year they weren't. So they
Because like the
took a
Lakers
drop
aren't
off.
locked in, Nuggets aren't locked in.
Clippers are locked in.
That's one I forgot. Clippers are locked in.
very
Even
much locked
though
in.
their offense is pretty gross, nasty, their defense is fantastic.
And you think at some point Kawhi maybe comes back?
That's a fact. And then the
Maybe.
offense starts to figure it out inevitably.
This is just the tough part of making the cat trade and figuring out how you replace the pieces. Because
Isn't that something? Nobody thought that the Wolves would be the ones that'd be fucking hands behind their back. Fuck me. I can't believe this is terrible.
Wow.
it was though.
well, I didn't
thought
like
they-
it for the
they
Wolves.
made-
No, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I thought they made the move to
No, but
For the
everyone
future.
I thought
at
it was
first
risky
for who?
for the Wolves.
Okay, I'm glad.
Yeah.
well, we're
Wordplay
looking
is
at
tough.
right now like
Oh, I meant every word.
when you play 2K, it's like, you know, you could sim 3 years in a blink of an eye, right? In real life,
It's easy to suck in 2K. Just like, all right, something next season.
in real life, like you're going through what the fan base is saying. You're going through like really dealing with people, and there is a serious question mark of like how long this iteration of the Wolves will be here. Like how long is Randall actually going to be on the Wolves? How long is Gobert, even though they just extended him? But that's also because we can't let this guy leave for nothing. So we got to make sure we have him locked up in case we do have to make a move and trade him. So there's all these moving parts. Dillingham hasn't been able to crack the rotation consistently because they have veterans playing in front of him. Alexander Walker's a free agent after this year. So is Naz Reid. This is what Tim Connolly wanted. He wanted a fresh start with the books, but there's also some muddy waters with what's happening with ownership right now. Like we don't know who the actual owner of the Timberwolves is. And from top to bottom, it just seems like they don't even know where they're heading as a franchise.
having people off the books, having players off the books, and having all of this freedom, it's not always the best thing. You have to hit on those players. The 76ers cleared the books. Signed Paul George. You know, like just because you have money to spend or you have assets to trade doesn't mean you're going to make the right move. Like, I don't think they're going to win a championship with this core. With Jaden McDaniels, with Rudy Gobert, I find it hard to believe how they look right now that they're going to win a championship, especially moving after the Karl Anthony Towns trade, because that's looking like a major regret. But at this point, it's like, all right, it's 20 games in, so I'm not going to make some grand, statement, but 20 games in, it's been a bit of a disaster. You went to the WCF last year. Now you're sitting here as like the number 10 seed, number 11 seed in the Western Conference with a team or two on your heels. We did see, though, a couple of years ago, I don't think it's going to get this bad. A couple of years ago, the Mavericks bottomed out. Luka gets shut down at the end of the season. They were able to get, a top 15 pick. They were able to trade up to get Derek Lively. You make a couple good moves here. You get Kyrie. You bring in Derek Jones for a year. And around the edges, make moves around your star. And you're able to bounce back. That's a world where if I'm a Timberwolves fan, even though I wouldn't want to hear it because we just went to the WCF, that's what it feels more like to me rather than this core with Randall, McDaniels, and Gobert are about to make runs over these next 2 or 3 seasons.
Maybe I'm allowing myself to forget, but it felt as if a lot of people thought Minnesota made a good move by trading Karl Anthony Towns.
They did. From a cap space perspective, absolutely.
But on a legitimate, are we better move,
I was confused.
that made no sense to me.
Well, that's why I thought the trade made sense for both teams, because the Knicks wanted to win now. They got that. And the Timberwolves, I thought, were trying to free
Timberwolves
up.
not wanting to win now is
To
so
me,
crazy.
I always thought the Knicks were going to win because they needed a center and Karl Anthony Towns.
Let's see
You
if
can
I
play
can
the
find
five
that
out,
for you.
beautiful. When it came to the Wolves, Julius, yes, has shown that he can play at an All-NBA level, but you take away amazing spacing. Dante, yes, but Dante came in with the idea that he wanted more minutes, and He still hasn't gotten that. And now there's turmoil in that regard.
It don't even matter though, because Dante's on a $12 million contract for like the next 2 seasons. So it's not even like his play is gonna get him a payday after this year. So the Timberwolves, to me, right now it's very easy to say like, yeah, they're worse off than last year and they're like doomed. But if they had kept Cat living in that reality, they're not going to be able to re-sign Naz Reid this offseason. They're not going to be able to bring back Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So we're talking about a Timberwolves team a year from now with a really aging and old Mike Conley, with McDaniels, Cat, Gobert, and then your bench is without Naz and Alexander Walker.
But we also...
Mike Conley probably retires.
Did you anticipate Rudy Gobert getting a 2-year extension?
I didn't, but I also thought that was done to make sure that he doesn't walk for nothing. Like, if we're going to trade him, we're going to get something for him instead of just letting him walk for nothing. So I think this is just... I thought the trade signaled a rebuilding process from the Wolves.
I don't know what's going on with them.
But the issue with that is that they don't have a first-round pick until 2028.
That's why I don't know what's going on.
So it's going to be a couple seasons before... Like, they're going to have to trade some of their players if they want the draft capital, or the best option, which Wolves fans are hoping for, is that this season turns around. And it very well still can. Like, if Edwards starts playing better, if Randall starts playing better, if Dante starts to shoot better, this team now becomes like what we thought they could be this year, which is a competitive basketball team. But maybe where I think the Wolves went wrong is they decided to go all in on a defensive first approach rather than offensive first. Because I thought that year that they made the playoffs with Cat starting at the 5 before they traded for Gobert, that was a successful season. And they could have kept building on that, but they bring in Gobert, and now you see Cat and how he looks like as a 5. I wonder what would have happened if they kept building around that strength with Anthony Edwards and Cat being our 5 and just putting defensive players and shooters around them that can maybe mask up for Cat's weaknesses in a similar way that the Knicks are doing with Cat by having OG and Mikal right now. How would that look like? And maybe they just try to bite off more than they could chew by thinking, because they basically chose Gobert over Cat. That's what they did.
Yeah, I just thought the timing was poor. Best season in 20 years. You have a young superstar in Anthony Edwards, and it's like, let's take a step back so a couple years from now we could take 2 steps forward. At least give him
one more year.
Yeah. It's like, again, if it was like you made this happen, next year you get bounced in the first round, it's like, all right, we got to figure something out. Okay, but after making the WCF, the timing was always weird to me.
Ranking the top 5 teams with the most depth in the NBA. This is going to be a little fun exercise. The teams with the most depth probably going to be the best teams in NBA, outside of a couple maybe. Do
you want to go 5-1 or 1-5?
5-1.
Good on you. It's testing you. You passed.
Yeah.
Number 5. I have Memphis.
So you left Houston out?
No.
Okay. So you left Cleveland out?
I did.
Number 5, I have Cleveland.
Cleveland would be honorable mention. Number 6.
Number 5.
The Warriors were my honorable mention.
I can hear that. They were also honorable
mention. That makes sense, but some of their players legitimately suck. Mm-hmm. Number 5, I have Cleveland.
Number 5, it was between the Rockets and the Grizzlies. It was like a slash. I don't know who I want to pick between those two. It's very hard to decide. I think with the way the Grizzlies have been winning without their star players and how much they've gotten from just the back of the end of the bench, I would go with the Grizzlies at number 5 over the Rockets.
Who'd you have? I'm sorry, I forgot.
I put Memphis here.
Right. Okay.
I'm thinking about it. I probably should have Cleveland here. They are a pretty deep team.
Ty Jerome.
Dog.
Karis LeVert.
Dog.
Dean Wade.
Dean Wade for sure.
Dog. Keep going.
Sam Merrill.
Dog. Don't really have a backup big though. It's kind of
they really don't. It's Mobley and
and
Allen.
About Max Strus yet.
Shout out to Max. Who's your 5?
I said Cleveland.
Oh, my bad.
Number 4 is where I have Cleveland. I have Cleveland at number 4.
4, I have Memphis.
Okay, 4 I have Dallas.
I have the Rockets at 4.
Number 3, I have the Mavericks.
Number 3, I have the Rockets.
Number 3, I have the Rockets as well.
I have the Grizzlies at 3. I didn't have Mavericks in my top 5, but I could hear it for sure.
Mavericks are a deep team.
They are.
The Mavericks are very deep.
You got Kyrie, Luka,
okay.
Najee.
It's the fact that Najee and QG
Gafford,
have come out and balled the fuck out.
Quinn Grimes is going crazy right now.
He's bugging the fuck out.
That's fair.
And they won hella games while Luka was out. That showed me how deep they are as a team.
Yeah, I might have overlooked Dallas.
And this is while Klay Thompson has been pretty mid.
Yeah. Yeah, because they do go like 8 deep.
Right? They legitimately do. That's why I have the Rockets over them.
And now Dinwiddie's in the rotation and he's playing really well.
That shit's blowing my mind.
Yeah.
You guys convinced me. I'll put Dallas at 5.
Yeah, I'm
There's
fine with that.
maybe
valid.
like an aura with the Lakers that isn't working. It feels like
You're right.
every player that goes there doesn't
Malik.
play well.
Torian, although he played pretty good with us, believe it or not.
He got a lot of opportunity to do so.
He
Yeah,
deserved.
no, you're right. Definitely
Yes.
Dallas should be
Needs
in here.
to.
Because I was thinking, at least for 4 and 3, I was just like the Grizzlies and Rockets didn't have like the top end talent as the other two teams, but I was just thinking, all right, these dudes go like 10 deep, you know. But Dallas has both. You have the top dudes, plus you could go 8 deep.
Did anybody put OKC at 1?
Of course.
I have the Thunder at 2.
I have OKC at 1.
I have,
Who do you have at 2?
who else would they be one?
I have Boston at 1.
I have Boston at 2.
I had Boston at 1, OKC at 2.
The thing is, Boston is like,
You
know,
have Boston at 1?
I have
Depth, I think
7.
I think depth can go multiple ways. One is you have like 10 to 12 dudes who could fucking play.
That's OKC.
But Boston also, I think, has the deepest starting 5 in the league, where their
Well, you guys
fifth
have
best
9
player is
dudes who can
crazy.
play.
No, for sure.
Hauser,
But
Cornette,
Yep.
Pritchard.
the way that and the fact that Pritchard's breaking out and the way that he is, and he's a 6th man of
doubt.
the year candidate. So Al's your 7, and Hauser's your 8, and Cato's not.
My
that good.
thought process was Chet goes out, Hartenstein comes back in. They're still the number 1 defense in the league. They're still a top 6 offense in the game. You still have SGA playing at an insane level. Caruso misses time too. Their defense is still
I
amazing.
mean, the Celtics didn't have Porzingis. Al Horford was there. It didn't matter.
You're cooking. Listen.
like,
It's
I'll be
1-2
honest.
dip.
Outside of probably Jaylen Brown, I don't think Boston. Like, I think OKC and Boston probably have the same. Like it's like
He's the
in the middle-
separator.
in the-
I know
yeah.
what you mean.
Jaylen Brown's probably
Because you're saying
better than J-Dub.
You're saying it's Tatum, SGA.
Yeah, they
You're
cancel
saying
out.
Jaylen Brown,
and J-Dub.
J-Dub,
I
Chet,
think Jalen's better. I think Chet and
Yeah.
Porzingis
and then
cancel
that's when
out.
IH2. But then you got Derek White,
Derek White, yeah.
Drew
I think they all
Holiday.
like Alex Caruso.
It's close, yeah,
they
but
all.
I
I think
would
probably
take
like
Derek White,
Drew
Drew
over
over.
Alex
It's
Caruso.
exactly,
a
yeah.
super even team.
It is.
It's a super even matchup, but I think the two-headed monster of Tatum and JB is what you give the edge to.
Yeah, because off the bench, I mean,
Boston.
Ihart and Kaysen would be their best player,
Dort.
second best.
Oh, he starts.
Dort.
Mhm.
That's
True,
kind of
true,
like
true.
Horford and Pritchard for
Exactly.
the Celtics.
That's
sure.
It's close. Yeah.
Even though Hartenstein's better, but
Yeah,
I
he
think
is.
Pritchard's better than Kaysen.
But also in Al's role, he's amazing. Like
Yeah.
obviously he's not as good of a player as Hartenstein.
Yeah, I
but
would probably honestly
ability to
move
defend is
Memphis
3.
to 3 because they have Ja, who I think is better than Houston. Jaren, you can make it the argument, is also better than Houston. And then you
Bane,
got
too.
Bane and all these other guys. So I'll go Dallas 5. I'll go Houston 4, Memphis 3. I'll go Boston 2, OKC 1.
I think
I can hear that.
rethinking the Mavs, because I definitely just forgot about them. I would put the Rockets 5, Mavericks 4, Grizzlies 3, Thunder, Celtics.
I think the Mavericks.
Mavericks and I could hear Dallas at 3 too.
I think the
over
Mavericks are over
Grizzlies.
the Grizzlies.
I just see
I
the
don't know.
Grizzlies are so deep,
Depth-wise, I think so.
and they've had injuries too, and they've like been able to overcome it.
You convinced me on the Rockets and the Grizzlies. I can be convinced to move the Rockets to 5. I think the Mavericks are more deep.
I just
than
think you
the
can. I think
Grizzlies.
Memphis, you can argue even at 2 because they're the only team. They're the
Ooh.
only team out the top 5 who I think their role players can legitimately win them 20 to 25 games. I don't know if SGA and J-Dub are out for an extended time. I'm not saying they can or they can't. We just haven't seen it. I don't know. Like we've seen Ja.
Luka did miss time, and they had a winning
They
record.
went
They lost one
5
game.
and 1, right? 6-1,
they went
But they had
4-1, I
Kyrie.
believe.
4-1.
Of course,
Some
of
shit.
course,
But
that speaks.
I'm saying Ja and Jaren are out. Both of them.
Uh-huh.
The Grizzlies can still win big games. That's
I mean,
why
you're
like,
dead.
And
You have-
Edie's banged up right now too.
And they're still winning.
and they're still dogging.
It's
They're
Luke
dominating.
Kennard, it's Marcus Smart, it's Jay Huff, it's Jalen Wells.
Even
it's
Yo,
Smart was out.
Scottie Pippen Jr. was hooping when Ja was
Santi
gone.
Aldamo's been fucking
Yo,
great.
Santi,
Scottie
Jalen
Pippen Jr.'s
Wells,
been
like-
fucking great.
Am I casual or Santi's never been this good?
he's never
This
been
is
this
best
good.
year for sure.
Holy fuck!
Jay Huff, like they
The
have.
Grizzlies have a
Brandon
lot of
Clark.
depth.
Yeah,
They do.
they just don't
bro-
have the top end of the other guys.
Like,
That's
they
really
really
what it is
go-
for me. But I hear where you come from.
They go like 12 deep, and like the 12th dude is fucking a good player.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
yeah,
The 12th dude is a
fucking,
what player?
he's fucking
He's a good player.
He's fucking a good
Did I say
player.
fucking a good player? He's a good player.
shit.
Like they've got
You heard
they've
what he
got
said? He
12
was like,
guys
yo,
averaging
time behind my
15
back.
plus minutes.
I'm getting fucked in the back.
I didn't say all that.
He said some wild shit.
It was wild.
And
but
we can't forget about John's guy, fucking John Conchar. He's like the 13th guy.
Brother, he's done. I don't know what's.
Yo,
brother.
he's 28. That snuck up
He
quick.
gets paid $6 million a year. It's time to get that off the books, man.
This week in the NBA.
Here we go. Let's do
Riv,
it.
you got a would you rather for us?
Do you want me? Should I save the others? Would you rather for next time or just do
Because I
both?
feel like two Celtics. Would you rather is kind of weak.
I'll do the other one I have.
Okay,
But you
cool.
go first.
So this man Payton Pritchard has been lighting up the league. He's been playing like really fucking well.
Can't wait to get nasty.
He's been killing. So I made a would you rather. So would you rather Payton Pritchard, pick a side, loves talking about role players. We spend an insane amount of time
the role player
arguing
podcast.
role players. Yeah, we give a fuck about every single one of you players. First name up, Tyrese Halliburton.
Oh my
Tyrese.
God, come
Let's get
on.
nasty, Dehls. Come on.
Dehls, stop.
Dehls, come on.
This is too much.
I'm waiting for this moment right
Close.
here.
It's Tyrese.
It really is. Payton got more
Tyrese.
wiggle, got a bit of a better bag. Probably a better shooter,
Halliburton.
too. Better defender,
He's
too.
definitely this year. He's easily a better shooter. I mean, he was arguably the best shooter in the league.
All
This
right, let's
year.
get the real names in there. Alex Caruso.
I'm still taking Caruso.
I would take Pritchard.
Pritchard offensively is
Well,
so
he
much
gives you
better.
off the
Amazing.
bench as an offensive spark.
I'm not going to disagree with that. The offense is it's a clearing. He's
Caruso went
amazing.
from Rudy Gobert talks to Payton Pritchard.
Oh my goodness.
Caruso
this is-
balled out.
He did. He had a good game. He's still been a little bit up and down.
Well, he just got back from injury.
Fair. I'll give him 3 games.
That's fine.
I'll give him
And the
3.
game right before he went out.
Yes. Yes. So I'll give him 3 games.
Thank you.
This is tough because Pritchard could win 6 Man of the Year this year.
Yeah, I agree.
He legitimately
I think he's
can.
the favorite right now.
Yeah. Well, right now it's Pritchard.
All right. Next name up, Scottie Pippen Jr.
Pritchard.
I would take Pritchard as well.
Yeah.
But Scottie Pippen
Scotty's
can ball,
really good, too.
man.
I like that.
Scottie
class.
Pippen can ball.
Yes. D'Angelo Russell.
Pritchard.
That
I
was
would
wrong.
take Payton
of you.
Pritchard. He's
That was
he's a
wrong,
better
you.
offensive player.
That was wrong.
I had to get him in.
Give me Pritchard, man.
Dennis Schroeder.
Oh,
Dennis.
Schroeder.
Dennis
Schroeder's been so
Schroeder.
good this year.
Schroeder's another demon. A little,
Yeah,
little
he
short
has.
I've been
demon.
telling y'all.
He's
about
playing
Schroeder.
really good.
I've always liked Dennis.
He was
on,
so
man.
ass in Boston, man.
He was so goated in
ass.
LA.
I think he had a bad playoff run and you guys let him go.
No, we just he wanted money again, twice.
Cam Thomas. So the winning culture.
I think Cam is a better player.
I think Cam Thomas is a better basketball player.
I think Cam Thomas is a better scorer.
Yeah, Cam Thomas.
Okay, let's get to it. Tyus Jones.
I'll go Pritchard.
You have to. I feel like Scottie Pippen Jr. at this
Yeah.
point is better than Tyus Jones.
Tyus Jones is playing really well for the Suns. He's organized them offensively.
I think they're giving you a little different things. You know what I mean?
Will.
I'm
Tyrus.
gonna take.
If I need more of an organizer to
Tyrus?
set Tyus. I might say Tyrus. If I need someone more to set up other dudes,
yeah.
Tyus. But if I need someone to score and get buckets, Payton.
I'm gonna take Tyus.
You take
I would take Payton.
I would take Tyus Jones.
Deuce.
Deuce McBride?
Deuce. Yeah.
I'll take Payton Pritchard.
I'm going with Deuce.
Respect that. Hey, this is the moments that make you a Knicks fan.
I love Deuce. Deuce is pretty fucking lights out.
He could get hot.
He can.
And he
Pritchard's
defends
hot, basically.
well.
That's your
Payton
fucking
tries
cooking.
small.
Yeah, you're fucking cooking.
I'm gonna take.
Payton does try.
I'm gonna take Deuce.
Respect that. Fred VanVleet.
Federico.
Fred VanVleet.
Yeah.
Blue guy, same size.
Yeah, I would
and
say
all that.
he's still
Ty
slow till
Jerome.
the season.
Pritchard.
Payton.
Ty Jones playing really well.
He's playing less
Yes.
minutes. I don't know why, to be honest.
He's playing really well, but Pritchard.
Ty Jerome's good at basketball.
2 different games. Well, different
Very
stylistically.
different
Yeah.
games.
Oh,
Damn.
damn.
in their own way.
I feel like I gave you guys some good names here.
Solid names.
Damn, this one's tough for whatever reason. I'll take Pritchard.
Jalen Green.
Oh my god. Yo, you're targeting me for what reason?
The
right
idea
now?
of Jalen Green?
It's
Whatever you
Jalen
wanna
Green.
make it.
It's Jalen Green.
Whatever you want to make it,
Jalen
bro.
Green's a better basketball player.
I'd probably Jalen Green. But
Listen, it's
the efficiency,
You make up the world you make. Who
the
would you
efficiency
rather?
Pritchard clears.
No shit. I mean, Pritchard cleared so many people efficiently right now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. That's
If Jalen
facts.
Green's a 6th man, how does he look?
Probably better. Not like as a scorer, he probably looks much better.
It's not Boston too.
It depends on one night. Depends on one night. On any given night, Jalen Green can be the best player on
Man,
the
give me
court.
Payton Pritchard.
There you go.
Enough
Oh
of
my
this.
god.
I feel like Jalen Green's is he not trending towards like a Jordan Clarkson like career arc?
Nothing wrong with Jordan.
That's the case. Payton
Definitely a bust.
Pritchard.
For Jalen Green, of course.
Man, Payton Pritchard would be lucky to be Jordan Clarkson.
I would take Jalen Green still.
This one took a minute. Who you pick?
Oh, I
like
said
the
JJ.
potential.
I'll see. Okay. Next name up, Malik Monk.
Malik Monk.
Still go with Malik.
TJ McConnell.
I'll go with Pritchard. Think you get more scoring upside with him.
For sure. Probably
I like Pritchard.
I think both have some of their like limitations size wise, but we'll try.
McConnell is good, man.
very good. Solid player.
I'm gonna take McConnell.
Paying Pritchard $9 million a year, by the way.
As in TJ at 10.
I don't know. I was just saying in general.
AirPods. I would take.
I'll take Pritchard.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take
Pritchard right now, yeah. AirPods has
Right
been
now,
so
ever.
disappointing.
Yeah, ever.
Well, AirPods last year wasn't disappointing.
Yeah.
I know,
Last year
but
was
just
good.
to start, he's done this year.
He was
last name-
untouchable.
Not from me. Last name Andrew Nemhart.
Pritchard.
This year,
moved by
Pritchard.
Nemhard?
They're the same age, I think. They both were
Are
4-year
they
players. I think they were
Damn,
both
it feels
4-year
like
players.
Nemhard's younger.
The conference finals stats swayed how people
I
view
cap
Nemhard.
Payton is definitely
Nemhard is a good player, but
I
it's not-
feel like-
last year he was averaging like 12 a night, you know.
I would
Yeah, I'm
take
going
Pritchard
Pritchard.
right now. Let's see. How old is Andrew Nemhard?
He's like 24, 25. I know he was a 4-year player, so
He's 24.
I just remember both of them being 4-year players.
Pritchard's 26.
I capped hard. My fault, yeah.
A 2-year difference. Let's see, January. He had 2 years basically on the dot. My this week in the NBA. It's been a tough start for the Lakers season.
I can't believe you're doing this to me.
It's been a tough start for the Lakers season.
Unbelievable.
Went on Fanspo.
Why are you doing this?
I have 2 LeBron James trades.
I hate you. Trade LeBron? Why are we wasting our time?
Why is LeBron wasting his time?
You know what? You know what moved me? Jason Timpf, diehard Laker fan, said that they were championship contenders. Saw he put on a TikTok or Twitter, whatever it was, saying he's done with the Lakers. He thinks they should trade everybody. And I was like, all right, if this guy who's been telling me all season long Lakers championship contenders, so I'm like, there's no way the championship contender says it. Might as well throw it into Spanspo. I got 2 trades. One of them I know you're not going to like. So we'll start with the one I know you're not going to like because in this trade, here we go, the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay, let's hear it.
LeBron with Luka, teaming up with Kyrie again. So the Lakers would get. Oh, I have the wrong trade up. Boom.
You see this, Santos?
The Lakers would get needle mover PJ Washington,
Here we go.
Daniel Gafford, Maxi Kleba, Dwight Powell, 2 firsts and a 2nd round pick. The Mavericks get LeBron James.
I would probably say yes.
Listen, the Mavericks.
But LeBron has been a negative this year.
You're trading their best perimeter defender.
Literally their 3rd best player.
And
It's for a guy who
Is-
legitimately
has been a negative.
plays 0 defense.
and arguably their best rebounder too.
Daniel
And
Gafford.
low key been clutch for them down the
PJ
stretch.
is averaging the most rebounds on the team right now.
We're talking about Gafford, but yeah.
No, I know what he meant. You're trading for LeBron who plays 0 defense.
But you're trading for LeBron.
Yeah.
you're getting LeBron.
And it's also LeBron where it's like, you have Luka and Kyrie here.
So
You know what I
think-
mean?
In theory, you would think LeBron, I'm locked in.
Yeah, I would do the trade too, but
I'm doing it just because I'll principle.
Mavs fans are gonna be like,
Both
I can't
sides.
trade PJ. He's untouchable.
Both sides, if you were Dallas, if you were the Lakers, would you do it?
Lakers say no.
The Mavericks
Lakers
are in a
do say
point in
no.
time where they can build around this team for multiple years. You're doing this to get 1 year of LeBron? No, I'm not doing that.
Okay. Riv?
I would say no on both ends.
All right. Now I think you guys, both of you guys are going to like this one.
Is he?
He's going to the Warriors, isn't he?
LeBron James goes to the Warriors.
All
There
right,
we go.
I'm listening. Yours are a little bit more perked.
Here we go. Okay.
Nigga, I need everything.
I'll be honest. This person on Fanspo, Warriors might be getting fleeced here. Warriors are getting LeBron James, Jackson Hayes, a 1st round pick and 2 2nd round picks. The Lakers are getting Andrew Wiggins, D'Anthony Melton, Kevon Looney, a 1st and 3 seconds.
Stop. No.
The Nets are getting Jonathan Kuminga.
Wait a minute.
I don't know where Kuminga went into all this.
No, that's fine. The problem was we're sending 3 first.
You would be sending. No, you're sending 1 first and 3 seconds
Why are we sending out first?
because you're getting LeBron James.
It is LeBron.
I forgot.
I don't know where the Nets come in, or maybe one of these picks are from the Nets. That's what it is. One of these picks go from the Nets.
We're giving up Wiggins and
But player wise, yeah, you're
Kuminga.
giving up Wiggins, Kevon Looney, D'Anthony Melton, Jonathan Kuminga.
Wiggins means that much to you, bro?
he's been hoping this year.
He has.
He's been hoping really well. He's getting back.
PJ Washington been hooping this year. That's
Yeah.
why I know Mavs fans are gonna say we don't want
But I
it.
feel like we need to keep Wiggs with LeBron because who's going to be our stopper?
You're right. That's the same question Mavs
So
fans are
how about
asking.
we exchange Wiggins and see if we can put somebody else in? We don't have nobody else.
I was gonna say,
bro.
Wiggins making 26 mil.
Fuck!
Got anyone making that money?
I have to comfortably say no.
Yeah, LeBron, you're not going to find a team that's going to be able to match his salary without giving up something that's valuable.
Making 48.
You know what I think we should go get though, legitimately, like that serious?
Lori still?
Brandon Ingram.
Okay.
Brandon Ingram. I think 1 year
What's that
rental.
package?
I don't even think the package should be too much.
Come bucket?
No, you could put he could go.
Moses?
Wow. Him, Moses. Yo, keep fucking going, Pogs.
Sure.
Yeah,
Send them all?
We can send all. Well, we got to send Melton out because we're planning to send his contract. Oh, he's out for the year. That's 12 mil. You add Kuminga. That's 7. We can throw Moody in there. That's 12 plus 7. That's 19. 19 plus 10 equals
29.
32.
Wait, 19 plus 10?
I mean 13. I'm sorry. 19 plus 13 equals 32 because that's what Moody's making. Jesus Christ.
I'm like, wait a minute.
No, we're
Where'd
good.
this math go?
32 mil. You add Brandon Ingram. You can add whoever you want. Just send whoever in the deal. Throw in a little first or 2 seconds or whatever because Ingram, market low. You don't know if he's going to stay. You bring Ingram in. I'm not saying we're going to win the championship. I'm not saying.
It gives you a better chance.
But you'd be
though.
close.
It just gives me comfortability that Steph can now not have to do everything, and we have another guy that can go get a bucket. That's all I'm saying, and I'll be happy.
All right.
Those are the two trades.
Very interesting. All right. We had a little discussion about MVP candidates. I want you guys to blind rank the following MVP candidates. First name up, Karl Anthony Towns.
Oh, just this season.
I
6
thought you were
names.
going to give us old guys.
No, 5 names.
5 names. My apologies.
I thought he was going to give us some throwbacks.
Cat.
Karl Anthony Towns.
2.
2?
Oh wait, if it's a blind ranking, we should know it's the guys we
But
talked
he said
about.
blind ranking MVP candidate, so I wonder if we're getting every MVP candidate.
No, I mean I'm sure we'll get like fucking like Franz or you know what I mean, like just something weird.
Oh, yeah,
We get
Cat's
somebody
over
from, like
Franz.
2014.
Wait, is it just this year?
Yes.
Okay.
I think 4 is.
I did ask
4 is
that.
valid.
They're just going to get fun.
I
Let's
think
go
4.
3.
You want to go 3?
I think being a little more aggressive here is fair. I'd go 3.
Okay.
All right. Next name up, Anthony Davis.
5.
Fell off.
4.
4?
Probably 4.
You sure?
He's playing. Oh, no. As recently, he's playing bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And their defense is dog shit.
But also,
He's
like,
still
I-
averaging 27.
I think we're gonna get a name worse than AD
I trust you guys. 4? You guys are.
because I think Cat is over him in the MVP
You guys are
race.
with the 4?
Four, four,
Okay,
yes.
4.
Next name up, SGA.
2?
or 1.
Tricky. Let's be safe with 2.
It's. I wouldn't be mad at 1
Okay.
because I think all of the other guys
Oh, right,
have,
yes.
you know what I mean? Like whether it's Giannis, Tatum, Joker, they all have things you could debate. But if we leave 1 open, who knows?
If we leave 1 open, it has to be Jokic, Giannis, or Tatum.
Yeah, I would put 1 SGA.
So we're putting him 1, knowing the next name has to go to 6, essentially.
There's 5
5.
Knowing the next name has to go to 5.
or 2.
This
We have
We still have 2 and 5 open.
1,
If we
2,
put
and
it
5 are
at-
open right now.
I think
brother.
I think if we go. Yeah. Sorry.
SGA at 1.
Yes.
Lock it.
Okay. Next name up, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
2. And we don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I
that's
should have
cool.
swapped this, but
That's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
2.
It's cool.
And the last name,
Joker.
LaMelo Ball.
Ah, there you go. 5.
Oh, 5.
I think we did a good job. I would have Giannis at 1, but that's cool.
I knew to put SGA before Giannis because I knew you guys would. I thought you guys were going to put him 2. I thought you guys were going to take the chance.
2 would have cooked.
2 would have cooked.
Would've cooked.
But
Would've
your
perfect.
final list, SGA at 1, Giannis at 2, Karl Anthony Towns at 3, AD at 4, and LaMelo Ball at 5.
Listen, Giannis, they're 500
overall
team.
a great
like-
great list.
They're up 4 on Boston right now, though.
With Chris Middleton back. I mean, Demon's home.
Let's see what.
Demon
Demon told me it's
home.
fucking
He's got
hilarious.
8 points, 2 or 7.
Really?
Okay.
Giannis
Nice.
cooking 25, 11 to 20.
Well,
Dame
of
is
course he's
cooking
cooking. Y'all got
26, 10 to
nobody could
17.
hold
You see LeBron and AD cooking tonight?
Who you guys playing?
22 and 30. The Hawks.
Jesus. The Jays are showing up and nobody else is.
Yeah, you know,
What's
Giannis,
Pritchard doing?
You know, Giannis is going to
0.
violate y'all.
0.
0s.
Should have
Bad
took Ty
time.
Jerome over him.
To do that,
Derek
would
White,
you
only,
rather?
Derek White's 0 for
Sheesh.
7. Fuck.
No, not our glorious king.
Not the All-Star.
Oh, man.
Man. All right, that's going to do it for episode 433 of the Pick a Side Podcast. You guys can follow us on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod, on Instagram and TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.